Hey everybody, Rosemary here, and welcome to a special video. So today I am playing the demo of a game I saw on Steam randomly that was recommended to me called Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. So it looks like it's kind of like an Ace Attorney style game, except there's like magic involved. I believe that you are defending like wizards and like it's a world of magic, and you defend people who are magic users, which is a little bit of a nice twist on it. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and play this demo, and I'll give you guys my thoughts afterwards, what I think. Alright, so it looks like we're doing just case one. Am I gonna get to play a whole case in the demo? That's pretty... I don't know how long the demo is, to be honest. I'm just kind of going into this completely blind. So case one, the cold-hearted aristocrat. The fields of battle are rife with suffering and despair. On them are a clash of souls, brought to conflict by the corrupt powers that rule over them. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Okay, judge, occupation, judge, and his name is Judge. Age 80, arcane art, none. Okay, so that's kind of cool. It seems like the characters you get a little bit of information on them and their little thing. Okay. Tyrion Cuthbert, occupation, defense attorney, age 20, of course. Like, super young. I love how everybody in these games are just, like, super, super young. And he has no arcane art, so I guess he is not a magic user. Witness, you testified you saw my client murdering the victim. What's more, you supposedly saw her casting magic while doing so. The art's pretty good, although the lack of music is a little strange. Rias, Rudolph, occupation servant, age 34, arcane art none. Yes, I could never forget such a grisly sight. That moment was burned into my memory. I see, it's funny that you say that. How so? Oh, he even does the slam, because your entire testimony was a complete lie. Wow, this game definitely oh my gosh. Wow, this music though, it's almost a little bit too close. I'm just like, man, oh man, they are really skirting it. It's how close it is. Okay, complete lie. What? Arya Steelwood, occupation, prosecutor, age 18, because of course. Arcane art. Evocation, I don't know what that is, or even if I'm saying it right. Is this kind of like our, Francesca? Is that her name? I feel terrible that I, like... Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to look that up. What is it? It's Von Karma, something F. Okay, Franziska. That sounds wrong. Franziska von Karma? Are you accusing the witness of perjury, Mr. Cuthbert? You should know better than to throw out baseless accusations. If she throws out a whip, I'm calling shenanigans. My accusation is far from baseless, Steelwood. Think about the state of the crime scene at the time of the murder. The witness couldn't have seen anything, much less a homicide. Yeah, these facial features, the mannerisms, very, very Ace Attorney-like. But on this battlefield, there are still those who follow and carry the ideals of justice within their hearts. And I guess, like, people who have arcane abilities, it's kind of like the attorneys, where they each kind of have, like, their different abilities. But one has to wonder, are these ideals truly just? Or are they simply following a lie given to them by their rulers? Oh, okay, just snapped to, guessing like a flashback. Damn it. Damn it. Flintheart, you old fool. Why couldn't you have just listened to me? Rudolph. Yes, sir? By the Scaled Lord, what did you... You killed him. Alert the town guard. Tell them you saw his daughter fleeing the scene. I'm sure their neighbors heard them arguing. At once, sir. The fact it's got magic will be something a little bit, because, I mean, Ace Attorney series did have some kind of form of magic or, like, abilities, but in a world of, like, magic users, that's kind of their way of being like, oh, but we're different, though. Earlier that day. Ugh. You feel yourself slowly being overcome with an unbearable pain. You don't think you'll be able to survive this torment much longer. Are you sure you're okay, Cuthbert? Ruby Tamora, occupation attorney, age 46, arcane art none. She kind of like our Mia Fey? You look like you're about to pass out. She's like our, we're like her protege. She's kind of, showing us how things are done. Don't worry about me, Miss Tamora. I'm fine. You've been riding in this carriage for days. I shouldn't just jump to conclusions and assume everything is like a ripoff, but I mean, you can kind of see the influences. They're wearing it on their sleeves. You've been riding in this carriage for days. You're definitely not fine. With each bump in the road, you feel yourself becoming more and more nauseous. It's taking every ounce of willpower to hold down your lunch. Perfectly fine, if you say so. The carriage must have driven over a large rock. You can feel your stomach retching in protest. The stew you ate for lunch doesn't taste nearly as good the second time. On second thought... Ah, that's better. You take a deep breath of fresh air. It's the first breath you've taken today that hasn't threatened to come back out. Sorry about this. I didn't expect the roads in this town to be this uneven, so it's like... Don't know what time this is taking place. This could be like it's a completely different world, obviously, but it seems kind of like old-timey. I suppose they don't get a lot of traffic here. You've been on the road with Miss Tamora for days. Together, you've been searching for a man named Flintheart Coy. Supposedly, he's been a voice of dissidence against the king for the last few decades. You have no idea what kind of business your mentor would have. Ah, so she is the mentor, as expected. Your mentor would have with him. If she dies, I'll be like, ah, okay. I can't help but feel like she may die. You've tried getting more details from her, but you've had as much luck trying to keep your meals down. Hello, travelers. Welcome to Cornhaven. A local merchant steps out from one of the nearby shops. He has a wide smile on his face, but he approaches your carriage with the enthusiasm of a starving vulture. If they have no eyes drawn in... Oh, what's this? Would a pair of dignified individuals such as yourself care for a refreshing drink? Those clothes, they must be from the city. So, are we able to see the thoughts? Can we read people's thoughts? You see it? Oh, you see a thought that isn't yours. Okay. Well, I don't need a drink, but... Miss Tamora glances at you. Your stomach rumbles in agreement. Oh, of course. I have just the thing for an upset stomach. With a carriage like that, I bet I could fleece them for a lot. Ah, this is giving me the, Holy cow, why can't I remember any of their damn name? Athena Sykes, where she has, like, her psychology thing where she can see people's emotions. His thoughts and emotions are laid bare through the eyes of Horus, but the merchant's expression doesn't betray a hint of what he's truly thinking. So my guy doesn't seem to have any, like, abilities, and yet he's able to read people's thoughts and their emotions? If his false smile... Let's try that again. If his false smile were any bigger, it might dislocate his jaw. How about 2 flasks of apple juice for 50 silver pieces? 50? You may find the price daunting, but this is organic, freshly made apple juice. It's just store-bought juice, but I bet they can't tell the difference. Out of the corner of your eye, you spot an empty bottle of store-bought apple juice. It's resting on a table inside the merchant's shop. Warm, room temperature apple juice. Oh. Clue. Store-bought apple juice. Type. Clue. The Cornhaven merchant has a bottle of store-bought apple juice. It's resting on a table inside his shop. It's suspiciously empty. Okay. Tyrion will make mental notes of notable clues he sees in the world. These notes are instrumental to solving mysteries and progressing through the game. Through game. You can check these notes at any time by opening the toolbar in the top left. Trust me, it's worth the extra gold. Normally, the price wouldn't matter much to you, but you don't appreciate being treated like an easy mark. Oh, okay. Argument. What? We have, like... Okay, this is different. Sort of. I mean, like... This looks like a health bar, and, like... Ace Attorney has sort of, like, you basically have your strikes against you. You can only make so many mistakes. You have started an argument with another character. During an argument, your opponent will make claims you need to respond to. Responding correctly will lower your opponent's confidence. Responding incorrectly will lower your confidence. If you run out of confidence, you will lose the argument. I think you need to elaborate. You said that this apple juice is organic, but where is it made? It's produced by the hardworking people of this town, of course. I only trade organic products. In a small town like ours, we only deal with locally sourced products. Alright, for certain claims, you'll need to present a piece of evidence to refute that claim. To proceed, present the piece of evidence that contradicts your opponent's claim. You say that, but I can see an empty bottle of store-bought juice inside your shop. Why would you have something like that if you only deal with organic products? Oh, how did that get there? Make no mistake, I only have that because I wanted to see how my products compare to that of the city. And let me tell you, that mass-produced slop doesn't even compare to my product. What an obvious lie. This juice is worth far more than what I'm offering. Honestly, I'm offering you a very good deal. Okay, interpreting during arguments. For certain claims, you'll need to look at your opponent's thoughts and emotions. Choose the correct response depending on the information seen. Logic, choose this option if your opponent's thought contradicts something in your notes. Intuition, okay. Intuition, choose this option if your opponent's thought contradicts their claim. Empathy, choose this option if your opponent's emotions contradict their claim. Okay, this is kind of neat. I usually only sell this stuff for 5, so I'm going to go with the intuition for this one. Sir, it's obvious these flasks are only worth 5 silver pence, whatever it's called. I see you're a shrewd man. Okay, that's kind of neat. That's something a little bit different. It's kind of like taking a couple of the aspects of Ace Attorney and putting them all together. So thirsty. Out of the corner of your eye, you spot a child watching you from far. Does nobody in this village have eyeballs? Her eyes are fixated on the flasks of apple juice. How about 20 SP for 3 flasks? Of course, sir. The kingdom of Wyverngard, established around 2,000 years ago by the 7 High Archmages. It's currently ruled by the king and mages of the nobility. The nobility will tell you our marvelous kingdom is a land of prosperity and happiness, a land where its people share the wealth and succor provided by the kingdom's magic. Thank you. I haven't drank this in years. The child's thoughts tell you exactly how much succor the kingdom is sharing. I'm probably saying that word wrong. I didn't know you had such an eye for rural economics. Well, I just have a good intuition for this sort of thing. So does she not know about my ability? Or did you use another kind of eye? Okay, that answers that question. Well, don't get me wrong, your so-called Eye of Horus is an amazing gift. You should take every opportunity you can to hone it, but try to be more subtle. If I can see through you, others will be able to as well. Right. Anyways, I did some asking around while you were haggling. Supposedly, the McCoy Tavern should be north of here. My tip is correct, this should be the place. Wait, this is the McCoy Tavern? You look at the supposed tavern. Saying it was in poor condition would be putting it lightly. You find it hard to believe that this has a secret meeting for dissidents against the king. But perhaps that was the point. The tavern's been shut down for years. Nowadays, McCoy just uses it to host his rallies. Although, I do wonder how they've been keeping themselves afloat. Hey, this guy has eyes. Oi, you lot, the McCoy Tavern is closed. A gruff man approaches your carriage as you step out of it. He's eyeing you and Miss Timora. Is it Timora or Timora? Timora? A clear look of contempt on his face. I take it you're Flintheart McCoy. Yes? What of it? Okay. Occupation unemployed, age 52, arcane art none. Sorry for not writing ahead of time, but my name is Ruby Timora. I wanted to speak with you, Flintheart. Ruby Timora. Wait, the Ruby Timora? Any animosity he had immediately vanishes. He lets out a laugh. It's as if he were meeting an old friend. Why didn't you say so? Come on in. He didn't expect I guess it's supposed to be someone like him. Someone like him to know about Miss Timora. But you suppose it makes sense. They both fight against the same enemy, albeit in different ways. Sorry about the mess. The tavern has been closed for some time. So, what do you need? I take it you didn't journey all this way to pay your respects. I have a proposition you might be interested in. Could we talk somewhere more private? Sure, the kitchen's empty. Perfect. Tyrion, stay here while I speak with Flintheart. Oh, what? Don't you need my help? There's no need. Like hell there's no need. If she's trying to make a deal with Flintheart, you can read his thoughts throughout their conversation. You desperately want to object, but Miss Timora shoots you a stern look that makes you freeze up. You slowly look away from her. You spend quite an amount of time waiting in the dining area of the tavern. It's already been hours since Miss Timora and Flintheart went to talk in the kitchen. You can hear faint murmurs from behind the closed door. You've been resisting the urge to eavesdrop, but even from here, you can tell their conversation is becoming more frustrated. Are they still not done yet? Well, it's a good thing I always bring a chess set around. You bring out the small chessboard you've carried around since you were a child. Chess can be played with one person, and you've always taken advantage of that. Checkmate. You win against yourself, this time as black. I've played 10 games already, and I've won as 7 out of 10 as black. I gotta say, so far, the spell checking and, like, the grammar is a little spotty at times. That's something that, like, I feel like an editor should have caught, but that's a minor quip. Hello? Oh gosh, her eyes are terrifying, and she has... Where's her nose? A girl has entered the tavern a while ago and's been trying to get your attention for a while now. However, you are so caught up in your own thoughts you haven't noticed. White has statistically been shown to be more successful. Unbeknownst to you, you're thinking out loud. So, why am I performing so much better when playing as black? Hello? You still don't notice her. You're verbalizing your thoughts just as fast as you're thinking them. Am I becoming overconfident as white because it has first move advantage? Or perhaps that advantage is affecting my choices and causes me to play unoptimally. That hand gesture makes me think very much of, like, Pearl. Once again, I'm sorry to make the comparisons. It's gonna happen. But I'm just seeing little flashes of it. If there's a personal quirk of mine that causes me to play illogically, then I need to correct it. Hey! Oh, how long have you been standing there? It's about time you noticed me. I've been trying to talk to you for a while now. Oh, sorry. Do you know where my dad is? Your dad? Flintheart. Oh, Celeste. Celeste McCoy, mercenary, age 19, arcane art transmutation. I'm his daughter, Celeste. Oh, Flintheart is talking to my Oh. Was he about to say mom? Mentor right now. Oh, I really wanted to show him something. Maybe she's like an adopted mom to him? Do you know when they'll be done? I don't know. They've been speaking in the kitchen for a while now. You hear Flintheart and Miss Timora's voices getting louder and more frustrated, but Celeste doesn't seem to notice. Her eyes are focused on your chessboard. This is chess, right? Are you playing against someone? Oh, I'm playing against myself, actually. She's like, oh, that's sad. Oh, that's, You feel a judgmental stare. Playing alone helps me develop new strategies. Plenty of professionals do it. Hey, I'm not the type to shame a man for playing with himself. That's... Relax, I'm just joking. Anyways, if you're still waiting for your mentor, I can play against you. Oh, you know how to play? Sure, I've read about this before. She's read about it? Ugh, this table's so dusty. Celeste takes a seat on the other side of the table. She tries to set up her side of the board, but fumbles with the pieces. She stares at one of them, confused. How do I arrange these things again? Part of you regrets accepting her challenge, but it would be impolite to back out now. Here, I'll arrange them for you. Thanks. Checkmate. You defeat her in 2 moves. Wait, what? Already? Is that possible? I don't play chess. Can you beat somebody in 2 moves? How did you do that? You decide against telling her the name of the mate she just fell for. Rematch. I want a do-over. Sure, why not? It's not as if you'll have anything better to do. Celeste's brow furrows as she tries to decide her next move, but she hasn't realized the game is already finished. Here! She moves her knight into a position to attack your queen. It should have stopped your assault on her king, but... Checkmate. A scholar's mate this time. What? Come on, how do you keep doing that? You look at the closed door to the kitchen. Flintheart and Miss Timora's discussion is becoming louder. It doesn't sound like they'll be done anytime soon. Again, I'll definitely beat you this time. For someone who clearly has never played before, she's quickly improving with each game. You're impressed. She's developing complex strategies without even touching a book on chess theory. She could even defeat a nationally ranked noble with the way she's playing now. Checkmate. But even so, you've been playing this game a lot longer than she has. What is it with games I play and chess being a pretty big part of it? How are you always one step ahead of me? It's like you're reading my mind. As if you'd even need to. Just one more game. I'll get you this time. Hello, Tyrion. Miss Timora emerges from the kitchen with Flintheart. They both look mentally exhausted. It looks like negotiations didn't go well. Oh, hi, Dad. Oh, hello, sweetie. Flintheart looks irritated. But as soon as he sees Celeste, he quickly puts on a smile. Oh, this is so sad, because isn't he the one he was killed, right? And then he was being... It took me a moment to realize, because when they talked about, like, the daughter, right? It's like, of course, yeah, he's going to be the one that's murdered later. And then that guy said something about, say that you saw the daughter running from, you know, the area. So she's going to be framed for murder. Flintheart looks irritated, but... Okay, I already said that. You wonder what Miss Tymora was talking to him about. What is this? Some kind of game? Miss Tymora glances at pieces on the board. Don't feel too bad about losing to him. He's a nationally ranked player. Oh, you're a professional. Is that why you're wearing a suit? No, chess is just a hobby. I'm actually a defense attorney. A defense attorney? Speaking of which, we should probably be on our way. Aye, sorry for refusing you after you came all this way. It's funny how defense attorneys in these worlds just always seem to find themselves, like, they meet someone and then they seem to get murdered immediately after. If you ever come across a defense attorney out of the blue, you basically are marked for death. Or someone close to you will be. And you will probably either die or you will be accused of murder. I respect what you're doing, I really do. But I want nothing to do with your mage friends. You wonder what he meant by that. Was Miss Tymora trying to introduce him to one of our clients? Anyways, it is getting late. If you leave now, you won't get back to the city until morning. She's right. There's a bunch of bandits and brigades out... Brigands? Brigands? I wouldn't want you running into them this late. I guess you have a point. We have plenty of empty rooms you can stay in until morning. It's the least we can do after you came all this way. Well, if it's not too much trouble, we might as well stay here until tomorrow. The tavern is shut down, but we still have some sheets and blankets. I'll go get the rooms ready. Celeste and Flintheart leave the dining area to get your rooms ready. You're left in the dining room with Miss Tymora. So, I take it negotiations didn't go well? No, I didn't expect him to be so stubborn. Honestly, I have no idea what that man has against mages. Well, there is one way to find out. Why are you being so secretive? If your business with Flintheart's related to our clients, I can help. It wasn't important, and your presence was not necessary. That is such an obvious lie, but you can't read a single thought from her mind. She said years of practice hiding her thoughts from your eye. Celeste enthusiastically comes back downstairs, but she seems to have noticed the tension between you and Miss Tymora. Sorry to interrupt, but your rooms are ready. Right. Thank you. An awkward silence hangs in the air as you and Miss Tymora head upstairs. You reach the upper hallway and see the 2 rooms Celeste has prepared for you. Miss Tymora stops before entering her room. You were playing chess with Flintheart's daughter earlier. Was she any good? Not at first, but she got a lot better as we kept playing. I'm sorry for leaving you there for so long. I didn't expect our conversation to last that long. No, it's fine. It was nice playing against her. I see. Well, I suppose that you are that age. No, it's not like that. It's just outside of tournaments, I never really get to play against anyone other than myself. He has a lot of experience playing with himself. And you only ever want to play shogi against me. Because shogi is clearly superior. It's complete anarchy is what it is. You just bring fallen pieces back to life like some sort of necromancer. It adds depth. Dropping adds a dimension of play that isn't present in chess. You sternly look at each other, your positions already made. After a few moments of silence, you both burst out laughing. I'm sorry if it looks like I don't trust you. I know you just want to help, but there are some things about my work I just can't tell you about yet. And she's totally gonna die before she gets a chance to tell him, huh? That's my guess. One day, when the time is right, I'll tell you everything. She's totally gonna die. She's all the red flags, all the death flags are popping up right now. Right, I'm sorry for prying. I just want to show you I'm ready to be an attorney like you. You are. I know you are. The rare praise from your mentor catches you off guard. Anyways, get some rest. You should mentally prepare yourself for the journey tomorrow. Right. You completely forgot about the carriage ride back. You can already feel your stomach churning. Anyways, good night, Miss Tymora. Yeah, see you in the morning. You lay in the bed that the McCoys prepared for you. As you close your eyes, you slowly drift into a deep slumber. But as this happens, you feel something invasive. Your mind drifts away, and you feel yourself being pulled elsewhere. You find yourself in a surreal, unsettling landscape. You're fairly certain you're dreaming right now, but some instinct in the back of your mind tells you something is wrong. You see a woman in the far distance. She's staring directly at you. What presence? She's murmuring something, but you can't quite make it out. Is she trying to say something to you? Finally. Found. I finally found you. Ooh. You're jolted, wide awake. You can't exactly remember what that woman said to you, but whatever her words were, they sent a piercing chill down your spine. Your breath is heavy and your heart's beating at 100 miles per hour. Calm down. It was just a dream. At least, that's what you try to convince yourself of. Please, just let me explain. I don't want to hear it. You hear the voices of Celeste and Flintheart ring from downstairs. Oh yeah, they said too. That guy said about how, like, the villagers probably will have heard arguing beforehand. So obviously they're getting into a tiff. Something happened. That dude killed Flintheart and then pinning it on the daughter. It must be extremely late. What could they possibly be arguing about at this hour? I want you out of my house. Out! A dead silence lingers in the air before you hear someone rush out of the tavern. Whoever left slammed the door behind them. Okay, so she actually did run out. What was that all about? It's none of your business. You only met these two today. It would be best not to get involved in their family affairs. A brief image of Celeste's smile appears in your mind. Damn it. You slowly make your way out of your room. The room is nearly pitch black. You can barely see a few inches ahead of you. You have to watch your step to avoid tripping. You run into Flintheart, who's slowly walking up the stairs. Even this close, it's hard to see his expression in the darkness. Sorry, I just heard... Right, I forgot you two were... His words trail off. Is everything okay? Sorry, I'm just going to... You awkwardly shimmy past Flintheart to head down the stairs. He doesn't move out of your way. It's clear his mind is elsewhere. You arrive at the dining room, but you don't see Celeste anywhere. Honestly, though, it's hard to tell with how dark the room is. Celeste, are you still here? You don't receive an answer. You remember hearing someone slam a door earlier. Your eyes are drawn to the tavern entrance. Celeste? No answer. Celeste, where are you? Ugh. The merchant you spoke with before steps out from his shop, holding a lantern. He appears to be irritated by all the noise you've been making. Oh, you're that kid from before. Do you have any idea what time it is? This ain't the city. You can't just make all the noise you want out here. Right, sorry. I was just looking for Celeste. Who? Celeste McCoy? She's Flintheart's daughter? The merchant's expression becomes colder. Do you know them? What do you want with that bastard? Oh, that damn mage. What? Those two probably woke up half the street with their yelling. I don't need you keeping us up, too. If I hear you making any more noise, I'm going to call the town guard. Before he can get a word in, the merchant walks back to his home in a huff. Is he referring to the mage as, like, Flintheart is the mage? Or is, like, does he think I'm... Or maybe Celeste being the mage? You look around, but you still don't see any sign of Celeste. You decide to continue searching, because we know Flintheart seems to have an issue with mages. I can't believe I said those things. What have I done? I see your temper is as short as ever, Flintheart. You! Honestly, how do you live in this darkness? Luke's... Or maybe he's the mage that the merchant was talking about? I don't know. Maybe he just appeared. Maybe he has the ability to just appear, so nobody saw him, like, enter or leave. What are you doing here? And how dare you bring that witchcraft into my home? You've been busy lately. Your little rallies have gained quite a lot of support. Too much support for my family's liking. And what? You came all this way to convince me to stop? You have my word. If you stop spreading dissidence, no harm will come to you or your family. Ha! Your word is as good as the dirt you lick off the king's boots. As if I would ever trust the words of a murderer like you. Flintheart, please. As someone you once called a friend, I'm only going to ask you one time. Friend? Friend? I'll be dead in the ground before I ever call the likes of you a friend. So obviously he's got some issues maybe with him specifically. Get out of my house. I don't have time for your nonsense. Unfortunately, I don't think you'll have much time for anything. Gah. Damn it. Damn it. Dare. Flintheart, you fool. Why couldn't you have listened to me? Rudolph. Yes, sir. By the scaled lord, what did you... You killed him. Alert the town guard. Tell them you saw his daughter fleeing the scene. I'm sure their neighbors heard them arguing. At once, sir. Alright, now we're going to be going back to the trial sometime soon. You've been searching for Celeste for a while. How long have you been outside? 2 hours? 3? However long it's been, it's clearly taking a toll on you. Oh! By some miracle, you suddenly find her. She looks just as tired as you, probably even more so. Her eyes are puffy and red, but she's doing her best to give you a slight smile. I've been looking all over for you. Oh, sorry. I'm guessing we woke you up. Yes. Is everything okay? It's nothing. It was just an argument between... You feel like she was about to say family, but she stopped herself. You decide not to pry further. Have you been looking for me all this time? Maybe she's not actually his daughter. Maybe adopted daughter? I have. Thank you. But I'm okay now. You should head back. And what about you? I think I'm going to stay out here a little longer. You feel that you should mind your business, but I'm sure whatever happened between you two, it's nothing you can't talk out. It doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes Miss Timor and I get into fights too. But no matter what happens, we were always able to talk about it. Sorry, I know it's none of my business, but No, I really appreciate it. Thank you. You're right. Let's go back. What? You come back to the McCoy Tavern, but it's now surrounded by several carriages and people clad in plate armor. Is that the Inquisition? What? The Arcane Inquisition. They're an order of knights that investigates crimes committed using magic. As you say the word crime, you and Celeste share a glance and come to the same realization. Both of you rush towards the cavern, but Celeste outpaces you by a large margin. What? No, no! Celeste reaches the tavern before you. Before anyone can stop her, she takes a look inside the inn. Whatever she sees makes her cry out in anguish. She drops to the ground in tears. There she is, Celeste McCoy. By the authority of the Wyvern Guard Crown, you are under arrest. Okay. Orem White, Knight, age 64. Upon seeing Celeste, one of the knights steps forward and grabs her. Surprisingly, she's able to break free from his grip and tries to push further into the tavern. Noticing the commotion, 3 other knights rush to grab her and begin dragging her away. She kicks and screams against them, desperately trying to break free. Even between the 3 knights, it's taking all their strength to subdue her. What are you doing to her? What is going on? Tyrion! Miss Timor approaches you. You breathe a small sigh of relief. Holy cow, you breathe small a sigh of relief? Like, come on, really? Oh, that's rough. When you see that she's okay. Miss Timora. Bah, I should have known that he was one of your people. Just stay out of our way. Miss Timora, what is going on? Why is the Inquisition here? I'm surprised myself, but from what I understand, Flintheart McCoy's been murdered. Murdered? Oh, okay. Interesting that they actually have, like, save spots, but okay. You follow the Inquisition back to the city. I guess, makes sense for these types of games. Celeste is being detained at their barracks there. Actually, let me check to see if you can save... Okay, so we got the text log. I haven't even thought about, like, checking for the options here. Okay, so that's good. You can save at any time. Always appreciate that with these types of games. And due to the supposed nature of the crime, her case would be pushed to trial immediately. But many elements of the situation still didn't make sense. The Inquisition only investigates crimes committed using magic. So why is Celeste their prime suspect? Could she be a mage? The only way to know for sure would be to ask her yourself. This is ridiculous. She has a right to speak to an attorney. Yeah, well, we can't let you see her until she's been processed. Her trial is in an hour. How has she not been processed yet? I don't know what to tell you, kid. I wish I could help. You don't need to read his mind to know that is a complete lie, so it seems like maybe these guys are under the rule of the king who wants just like a... Because it seems like that dude, the fancy guy, whatever his name was, he's working with the king, so obviously, like, they don't want him to be accused or convicted of murder, so it seems like they're just trying to rush it, get Celeste found guilty, executed, wrap it up. So you're really planning on defending her. Do you know if she can even afford a lawyer? I just can't stand here and do nothing. You saw them, didn't you? There's no way she would murder her own father. I know that look. But remember, if you try to defend her, the Inquisition isn't going to fight you fairly. Our court system only exists to create the illusion of justice. They hate people like us, and they will do everything in their power to sabotage you. Damn it, you knew that they would try to get in your way, but you didn't expect them to do it this blatantly. Ugh, what's with all this noise? You're that knight from the tavern. That's Commander Orm White to you, kid. I had a feeling Tymora would be sniffing around this case, but I didn't expect her to send a kid to do her dirty work. Commander, he says he wants to talk to the mage. And? He's her lawyer, ain't he? Oh, well, she hasn't been processed. Commander White looks confused for a moment. The hell kind of bullshit are you trying to pull? Let him through, you idiot. Yes, sir. The knight leads you through the halls of the dungeon. For something built in the capital, it looks extremely old and decrepit. You pick up the negative emotions of the prisoners nearby. It's a heavy and almost crushing feeling. You've never felt this much concentrated despair before. Oh, it's you. Celeste was lying down on the cold floor of the dungeon. She immediately gets up as soon as she notices you enter. What are you doing here? Miss Tymora told me about what happened to your father. I'm so sorry. I just don't understand. I don't understand any of this. Why would someone do this? And why are those knights blaming me? I'm not sure about the details, but it's clear that there were elements of magic involved in what happened. Since they arrested you based on that evidence, I can only conclude one thing. Celeste, you're a mage, aren't you? There's no sense in hiding it anymore. Yes, I am. Do you have noble blood? Of course not. Of course not. Why would you say that? Sorry, but the ability to use magic is genetic. Most mages tend to have some kind of noble blood. So I'm guessing, yeah, she's probably an orphan, and Flintheart probably took her in, and she's not his real daughter. I honestly don't like thinking about that. I'm the daughter of Jolene and Flintheart McCoy. That's all I need to know about myself. She doesn't appear to know anymore. It'd be best not to push the matter further. Anyways, you were probably arrested because you're a mage. What? A crime was committed using magic, and you were the only mage around at the time. Is that seriously the only reason? I only know how to cast one spell. The Arcane Inquisition doesn't care about the truth. They only care about closing their cases. Celeste, your case is being pushed to trial. Your trial is in an hour. What? No one told me anything. Damn it, they weren't even planning on telling her? If you'll have me, I would like to be your defense attorney in the coming trial. Right, I forgot you were an attorney. Would you really do that for me? After everything I've seen them do, I can't just stand by and do nothing. Thank you, I really appreciate it. I won't lie, the odds are stacked against us, but I will do everything I can to see you acquitted. It's clear this entire situation is bittersweet for her, and because of the Inquisition's delays, you haven't had any time to investigate the crime scene. You were confident before, but you begin to doubt whether or not you can really do this. Everything is happening so fast, it feels unreal. No, you have to do this. This is why you became a lawyer. No matter what happens, you will acquit Celeste. Oh my gosh, it is so like it. The courtroom. I'm in a real courtroom. Your motivation from earlier is slowly disappearing. You've never actually been in a courtroom as an attorney before. You've only ever acted as Miss Tymora's assistant. The woman at the prosecutor's bench is staring at you. Miss Tymora mentioned her before you went to see Celeste. What was her name again? You think it was Arya Steelwood. You can feel the coldness of her glare burrowing into you. What is her intent? Is she trying to intimidate you? Because it's working. Court is now in session for the trial of Celeste McCoy. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Oh, the defense is also ready, Your Honor. Very well, let's begin the proceedings. Prosecutor Steelwood, please list the charges. The defense is Celeste McCoy, a mercenary for hire and registered mage. Wait, did she just say mercenary? Yeah, I had to take up a job after my family's inn was shut down. Oh, right. It's not exactly the first occupation you would choose. She's charged with second-degree murder and negligent misuse of the arcane arts. Interesting that's kind of old school. It seems like kind of... but then there's kind of futuristic stuff too. I can't quite pin down what the time, when this is taking place, if it's in the future, if it's in the past, if it's in the present time. The crime occurred within the McCoy Tavern, a local inn that shut down years ago. The locals reported hearing a loud commotion coming from the building. Hours later, a carriage driver that was nearby entered the tavern to check the disturbance. It was there he found the victim. The defendant's sword was impaling his dead body. Here is the autopsy report and record of the sword. Okay, autopsy report. Flynn Hart McCoy has been added to your notes. Died after being stabbed from behind with a magical blade. Fatal wound shows heavy traces of transmutation magic. Okay, is that the one? And we used her sword, and transmutation, that is her magic ability, so that sucks. The alleged murder weapon. It is an ornately designed sword, but has no magical properties. Oh god, oh no, I hate... Oh, his stare is piercing into my soul. I miss the judge from the Ace Attorney. He looked like a Santa, like a worm grandpa. This guy is terrifying. What was the defendant's relationship with the victim? I see they share the same last name. The defendant is the victim's daughter, but not by blood. Okay. She was adopted into the family when she was an infant. Her birth parents are unknown. I see. What a dreadful turn of events. That explains why she looks so different from Flynn Hart. To begin, the prosecution would like to call Commander Orm White to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. Name's Orm White. I'm commander of the Arcane Inquisition. Orm, please tell the court the details of the Inquisition's investigation. Yeah. We got a call late at night. Someone discovered a dead body inside of the McCoy Inn. When we arrived on the scene, we found Flynn Hart McCoy dead on the floor. The defendant's sword was still inside of him. We have several witnesses who heard the victim and defendant in a loud argument before the body was discovered. Their argument must have turned ugly because the defendant killed the victim using her magic sword. Isn't that really incriminating? One of her possessions is the murder weapon. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. You open your mouth to respond, but nothing comes out. I'm surprised that, Ruby's not with me. She's not going to be there to, help me out. You can't think of anything to say. Everything is blank. Mr. Cuthbert? Hey, what are you doing? Say something. I'm sorry, Your anxiety is just getting worse, and your breaths are becoming more frequent. Are you hyperventilating? Ah, what a disappointment. I was hoping to fight against the infamous Ruby Timora today, but it's clear you can't even hold a candle to her. Your Honor, it is clear the defense has nothing to say against the prosecution's overwhelming evidence. Yep, this case is pretty open and shut. No, wait. This isn't what's supposed to happen. I'm sorry, Tyrion. I couldn't acquit your Frey. Frey? Huh, okay. She was found guilty. What? But that means... Are they going to execute her? No, not again. Are you seriously going to let that happen again? What is this about? Does Frey mean something in this world? What is a Frey exactly? Okay, the only thing I looked up was that Frey is the Norse god of fertility, crops, peace, and prosperity. I guess I got a little excited because I heard Frey and I thought of Fae, but not quite the same thing. Tyrion. Celeste grabs your shoulders and shakes you out of your panic. You need to calm down. Her gaze is calm and focused, despite the gravity of the situation. But she looks stern, not angry. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for this to... Stop, just listen to me. Is she gonna become, our... Is she gonna become our assistant? You know what to do. I know you do. Maybe because, her family is dead. She's like, I got nothing to do. You saved me. Let me help you out with my magic. Just do the same way, do it the same you played chess. What? I don't know. You were so calm and focused when we were playing before. No matter how close I got to beating you, you always knew how to stay calm and win. So just remember that feeling and channel it right now. Flip the chessboard. What? That doesn't make any sense. And yet... You take a moment to focus and let everything disappear from the world. Every statement he made, every word that came out of his mouth, each of those is a possible weakness you can attack. Every bleak moment can be turned around. You just need to consider every angle. My apologies for the delay, Your Honor. The defense is ready to begin cross-examining the witness. Very well. There we go. Thank God that worked. Carefully examine every statement he made and find something that contradicts the evidence in your notes. Once you do that, present the contradicting evidence that proves his testimony is false. All right, this is exact. Holy cow. There's the other things they talked about too, about using the intuition and the empathy rather than just the actual evidence. You are cross-examining a witness. Carefully examine each statement they made and find the statement that contradicts a clue, a spell, or a profile in your notes. Once you identify the false statement, click the Present button and present the contradicting evidence to move forward. Okay. So let's press everything. As I've learned from Ace Attorney, press everything. At what time exactly did you get this call, and who discovered the body? The call came in at 1:25 a.m. As for the witness who discovered it, he wanted to remain incognito. It's not unusual for a witness to stay anonymous. It's well within their right. But this would be a lot easier if you could question the witness directly. What happened when you arrived, Commander? When we arrived on the scene, we found Flintheart McCoy dead on the floor. The defendant's sword was still inside of him. How did you know the sword was my client's? Her sword is made out of some kind of special alloy. I think it was forged out of country or something. It'd be hard to mistake something like that. We also have several eyewitnesses who verified the sword belonged to the defendant. She made no effort to hide it from the public. Quite the contrary, she was quite proud to show it off. But even if the sword belongs to my client, that doesn't necessarily mean she was the one who stabbed him. Yeah, well. Okay, we have several witnesses who heard the victim and defendant in a loud argument. How did they know it was my client and the victim that were arguing? You were there, weren't you? You had to have heard them. Every witness we talked to could tell it was them. Well. Your Honor, it's clear that the defense is playing devil's advocate. Even he should have recognized their voices. Well, they've got you there. Okay, the argument must have turned ugly because the defendant killed the victim using her magic sword. That's conjecture. Weren't there plenty of people around who could have committed the crime? That tavern's been closed for years. The defendant and the victim were the only ones before the body was discovered. He's like, wait a minute, no, I was there. And be like, okay, are you? Did you do it? Plus, the murder weapon definitely belonged to her. It will be hard to prove someone else was at the crime scene, but you can't help but feel there's something off about what he just said. He shouldn't have panicked so much before. His testimony is straightforward, but that will actually make this easier. Assuming Miss McCoy's innocent, there has to be a flaw in his logic. You just need to compare every statement to each piece of evidence in the court record. Once you find a contradiction, present that piece of evidence to the contradicting statement. Okay, let's go through the evidence. Is that this? There we go. Okay. So it could be a thing about the transmutation magic. Let's check the profiles, because she... Yeah, so she does use transmutation. That's right. Could I talk about, like, we were also at the crime scene? There's no spells. Oh, no magical properties, maybe? Because the magical sword, perhaps? Let's go over, let's check the sword again, and also stabbed from behind. Fatal wound shows heavy traces of transmutation, but, okay. So there's that, but then he said, like, magic sword. Okay, let's present there. So we're going to present no magical properties and see if that does it. Commander White, you testified the victim was killed using the defendant's magic sword. Am I correct? Yeah? What about it? I think I'd have to disagree with you on that. The defendant's sword couldn't have possibly been the murder weapon. What are you talking about, kid? The sword was inside his body. Of course, that's what killed him. That may be the case, but take a look at the autopsy report. The fatal wound shows heavy traces of magic. So, please tell me, Commander, how would a non-magical sword leave traces of magic on the body? What? To leave a trace like that, the wound would have to have been created with something magical. My client's sword may look fancy and expensive, but it is entirely non-magical. That doesn't make a lick of sense. If the sword didn't kill him, then why was it in the body? Yes, I find that quite strange as well. Well, there's only one reasonable explanation, Your Honor. The wound was created magically, and someone shoved the sword into the wound afterwards. The hell are you talking about? The defendant is a damned mage. She could have easily killed the victim using magic. That may be, Commander, but why would she kill the victim using magic and then stab him with her sword? She would just be incriminating herself. No, if anything, this series of events proves one thing. Someone used magic to kill the victim, and then they pushed my client's sword into the wound to frame her. Don't get ahead of yourself. What? Your Honor, the defense is trying to spin a ridiculous tale. He claims the third party committed the crime and used the sword to frame the defendant. But wouldn't the simpler explanation be this? Magic was being channeled through the sword at the time of death. That is what left the magical trace on the body. Commander, please tell the defense how the murder was committed using magic. What? Oh, all right. I think I see where you're going with this. It's true the sword itself ain't magical, but magic can still be channeled through it. That defendant over there, her spell compendium has a spell called Mage Blade. She must have used it on her sword before stabbing the victim. That spell is the reason there were traces of transmutation magic on the wound. So, her spell compendium contains a spell called Magic Blade. A spell compendium is a magical device that lists every spell a mage is able to cast. Luckily, Celeste's compendium, I don't like that word, only contains one spell. That means she can only cast that one spell. Celeste, do you have your spell compendium with you? No, I left it at the tavern after. Well, you know, you can't look at the description for Mage Blade. You'll have to approach this another way. The commander's testimony was a lot vaguer this time. If you can press his statements, you might be able to find new information you can use against him. Okay, so I didn't need to press any statements before, but my experience with the Ace Attorney games has me doing it regardless. During a cross-examination, you can press statements to acquire more information. Sometimes pressing the right statement can make a witness add statements to their testimony. Okay, so let's press. Are you saying my client used a spell and channeled it through her sword? There are a vast number of spells that operate like that. Spells from the School of Transmutation are almost always channeled through an object. Okay, so we're gonna use it on her sword before stabbing the victim. But why would she go to the trouble of doing that? Her sword alone would have been enough to commit the murder. Mages are always looking for an excuse to throw their power around. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Isn't that just your own personal bias, Commander? We don't need to understand why the defendant did what she did. The fact of the matter is magic was present at the crime. Do you have any evidence on the contrary? You don't, yet. If she used a spell like that, wouldn't that have created traces of magic on the ground? How so? Well, let's say we follow the prosecution's theory. That would mean the victim fell to the ground with the sword still inside him. At this point, Mage Blade would still be active, right? It would definitely leave a magical trace on the ground after making physical contact with it. We're already way ahead of you. We had our people scan the crime scene, and we found traces of transmutation magic on the ground, just like you said. Oh, if you still don't believe me, I have a picture of the crime scene in the scan right here. Oh, why was this picture not brought to my attention? There was no need. This entire case is open and shut. Alright, crime scene picture. You've seen pictures of the dead before, but it feels a little different now that the body is of someone you knew. It looks like there are traces of magic on the ground, but the shape is a little weird, isn't it? Oh, she noticed something too, probably, but she's gonna keep her mouth shut. What was that just now? Can I read her thoughts? If I can read her thoughts and be like, see what she reacted to. Oh, you can see it in the picture. She killed him with a stab from the front. Aha! Well, first of all, let's check. Let's see the picture again. Okay, yeah. So that's where it got thrown off, right? Stab from behind. There we go. Let's present. Let's present. I'm sorry, Commander White, but it seems you've presented another glaring contradiction. Oh yeah? What's that? You said my client stabbed the victim from the front? Am I correct? Yeah, you can see it plain in that picture. So, where's your contradiction? That's the thing, Commander. Your picture clearly shows the victim was stabbed from the front, but perhaps you should take another look at the autopsy report. It says he died from a stab from behind. What? Orm, you were supposed to release everything you had to me. Why wasn't this photo given to me? There was no need. There's no way it could have been anyone other than that damn mage. Murmurs rang out across the gallery. It didn't matter how corrupt the justice system was. They wouldn't be able to cover up such blatant incompetence. You have them now. Order! Order in the court! I will have order. Mr. Cuthbert, what is the meaning of this? I'll tell you what the meaning behind this is, Your Honor. As the autopsy report states, the victim died from a stab wound originating from his back, but this photo clearly shows the sword entered from his front. This can only mean one thing. The sword was inserted into the wound after the fatal wound had already been created. That's crazy. Do you honestly expect us to believe that? Then please enlighten me, Commander White. How else would that sword be facing the wrong way? What clearly happened is that the real murderer stuck the sword through the victim's wound to implicate my client, but they made a careless mistake and stuck the sword through the opposite side. It appears I underestimated you, Mr. Cuthbert, but you've still gotten ahead of yourself. How so? I believe Mr. Cuthbert has adequately cast doubt on the prosecution's case. Did he now? Then let me ask you one question, Mr. Cuthbert. If your client didn't kill Flintheart McCoy, then who did? How should I know? Yeah, we don't have to prove who did it. We just have to prove that our client didn't. I was going to say, Phoenix always just goes, and all the people, they just go the extra mile to find the real murderer. I'm just like, really, a lawyer, all they have to do, they don't have to say who actually did it. They just have to prove their client didn't, or that there's, you know, like, beyond reasonable doubt. It's the commander's job to figure that out. Oh, I'm well aware of the commander's incompetence, but one fact still stands. There was magic detected on the wound and the sword. Would you like for me to tell you how many mages live in that small town? You don't like where she's going with this. Just one. There's only one registered mage in that entire town. And that mage is your defendant. What? Well, I know obviously at some point we're going to get to the point where we're going to, like, find out that that dude and his servant were in the town. Man, I gotta say I'm impressed. We're almost an hour in, and we're still going. Like, when I heard demo, I thought it was maybe going to be a half hour, 45 minutes, but we might get to do this whole dang first chapter, which is, like, pretty nice for, like, a free demo. The defendant was also established to have been with the victim hours before his death. She was the last known person with him, and she was the only mage there. How she murdered the victim is simply an unanswered question. I see, that does change matters. I can't say the prosecution's evidence is irrefutable, but there's still enough evidence to cast doubt upon the defendant. Damn it, you almost had it. There are too many unanswered questions to conclude this trial. We'll give law enforcement time to clear up these unknowns. I suggest they conduct the investigation more thoroughly this time. We will resume the trial tomorrow morning. Court is adjourned. Oh, do I get to keep playing? Oh, maybe they're going to end it here. Maybe this is where the demo ends. Hello, Cuthbert. As you walk out of the courtroom with Celeste, you're greeted by Miss Tymora. Miss Tymora, you're here. You recall how you froze up during the first cross-examination. You feel a little ashamed she saw all of that. Well, at the end of the day, you were able to pull it together, and once you did that, you performed adequately. On that note, I wanted to give you this. Celeste's Spell Compendium. An old dusty journal contains the formula for the following spell, Mage Blade. Alright, this is cool. This is something different. Mage Blade, School, Evocation, Incantation, Arcane, Gesture, none, duration 1 minute, concentration, yes. Okay, this will be cool. Like, you have to, like, factor in all the things about their spells, like how long they last, concentration, all that stuff. I guess the style. For the duration of the spell, the edges of this object, usually a blade, become unnaturally sharp, making it more effective at slashing through tough material. While under the effect of the spell, the object emits a yellow radiant glow. The target object must be no larger than a 5-foot cube. The whole thing about, like, the item must be no bigger than a 5-foot cube, that's probably going to factor into it, and also the glow. My spell compendium. I swiped it from the dining area before the Inquisition arrived. It'd be best for you to have it. So, this is your spell compendium. And it only has one spell, Mage Blade, which means the prosecution has to prove Celeste used that specific spell. It will restrict how they approach this case, which will give you an edge over them. But that prosecutor is really something else. You mean Prosecutor Steelwind? You can still remember her ripping glare. It gives you chills just thinking about it. You wouldn't even know it, but this was her first trial as a prosecutor. Really? I thought that her inexperience would make for a good first opponent, but that noble, she's a natural in the courtroom. It makes me wonder why a Steelwind would choose to become an attorney in the first place. What do you mean? The Steelwinds are a powerful noble house. The noble families, they are one of the few who answer directly to the king. Most of their family take high-ranking positions in the kingdom's military, so it's a bit strange she chose to become a prosecutor despite that. Steelwind. Why does that name sound familiar? In any case, it's best you focus on the trial. You have about a day until court resumes. Right. Now that I have time, I'd like to ask you some questions, Celeste. Namely, about that argument you had with your father. Oh. You see the bailiff staring daggers at Celeste. It looks like they're waiting to take her back to her cell. Whatever questions you have for her will have to wait. I should probably go. Celeste walks away while avoiding eye contact with you. Bringing up her argument with Flintheart may have struck a nerve. I'll also use this opportunity to investigate the crime scene. I wouldn't be surprised if the Inquisition missed something. You utterly embarrassed them today. Don't expect them to make the same mistake twice. Right, there's still a lot of things we don't know about. As much as I hate to admit it, your skills of deduction far surpass mine. If anyone can figure out what really happened that night, it's you. Oh wow, I get to keep going. For some reason I thought for sure, I'm like, they're going to leave it on a cliffhanger and that's going to be the end of the demo, but no, I get to keep going. You arrive back at the McCoy Tavern. Luckily for you, the Inquisition set up a teleportation circle there. With that circle, you could magically teleport between the capital and the crime scene instantaneously. Oh god, wouldn't that be nice? It's miles better than having to travel by carriage. Oh, it's you. What are you doing here? Commander White notices you as you enter the tavern. It looks like he's working with a team of knights to investigate the crime scene. I'm the defense attorney in this case. I have just as much right to investigate the crime scene as you do. Yeah, whatever. But remember, I got my eye on you, kid. I was wondering if I could ask you some questions about the case. Ha, as if I'd help the likes of you. I saw who your boss is, and I know what you're up to. That witch probably sent you here to con me. What? I'm just looking for some information. A likely story. He was cooperative before when he let you see Celeste. Why is he being so stubborn now? Is he angry you embarrassed him in court today? In any case, you won't get anywhere at this rate. If you want his help, you'll need to persuade him through an argument. Ah, psychological profile. It helps to prepare before starting an argument with someone. Talk to Aurum or present items to help to him to build a psychological profile. If you successfully fill the profile gauge, you'll receive more information during arguments against him. That's cool. Okay, this game's kind of doing its own thing. I appreciate that. Alright, Inquisition. So, what does the Arcane Inquisition do exactly? You trying to pick a fight with me? No, I'm just genuinely curious. Well, I'm sure you already know, but us Inquisitors investigate crimes that involve magic. Do crimes like this happen often? Nah, maybe once in a blue moon. It makes sense. Most mages are in the nobility, after all. Even if they're untouchable, they don't make a habit of getting into trouble with the law. It must be an easy job, then. Heh, you got that right. Oh, the only reason we exist is to clean up the nobility's messes. He doesn't seem that happy about that. Commander White, you seem to speak negatively about my client's magic. Do you have a personal grudge against mages? You damn right I do. Wow, you didn't even try to deny it. And if you had any sense, you would too. All a mage has to do is wave their hands and say some magic nonsense. Then you suddenly have a dead body on the ground. I don't know if this is going too far, but why join the Inquisition if you hate mages so much? Considering the fact that, that my job is to sweep the nobility's crimes under the rug? Sorry, I didn't mean to insinuate. Nope, you have the right of it. Anytime a noble is involved in a case, I'm ordered to look the other way. Wow, he's being very blatant about this. You don't seem very happy to do that. Why would you stay in this line of work? Because every once in a while, I'm allowed to put a criminal mage behind bars. We can't go after the nobles, but any other mage is fair game. Or at least, they were before your boss showed up. Your boss? Does he have something against Miss Tymora? I have to ask, did something happen between you and Miss Tymora? Ha, Miss Tymora. What are you, her lackey or something? No, actually, she's my guardian. Ah, guardians, that's why he's... So it seemed like he was gonna say mom when he was talking about her before. Oh, I didn't even know she had a... Look, kid, I don't know what the deal is between you two, but no good will ever come from associating with her. This is about the rumors, isn't it? There are several insidious rumors surrounding Miss Tymora. She's been accused of forgery, blackmail, and all manner of illegal activities. It's clearly misinformation spread by the nobility to discredit her, but you can't help but get angry on her behalf. It's more than just rumors. I've seen it for myself. Now that would be brave. Maybe brave's not the right word, but that would be crazy if it turns out she actually is not the person we thought she was and she actually is a criminal. That woman is evil, kid. She defends mages who don't have the protection of the nobility. She's not evil. She's a hero. Yeah, whatever. Alright, there we go. Now we can combat him. Alright, Commander White seems unusually hostile towards you, and you have a feeling it's not just because you embarrassed him in court today. If you can clear up this misunderstanding, you might be able to convince him to help you. Sure, let's start an argument. Alright, I'm just going to come out and say it. Do you have a problem with me, Commander White? You should know exactly what my problem is with you. I saw exactly who you work for. Do I have to spell it out for you? Oh, let's check out his profile. Okay, Ruby Tymora is a crooked lawyer. Or does your boss not tell you what she gets up to? Okay, so Commander White is stubborn and stuck in his ways. He seems to have a grudge against Ruby Tymora and will react negatively if you try to defend her. However, he will respect you if you defend yourself against personal attacks. Alright. So this feels... okay. Oh, so defend... oh, this is interesting. You have no right to throw baseless accusations against me or Miss Tyror. Regardless of what she has done, I'm the one heading this case. It doesn't matter how you feel about me or Miss Tymor. What matters is my client deserves a fair trial with fair representation. So it seems like he will respect you if you defend yourself against personal attacks. Okay, so... alright, let's defend, because it said literally if we defend ourselves. You have no right to throw baseless accusations against me or Miss Tymora. Whatever you think she's done, you're wrong. Ha, you're either a good liar or you really are that naive. That woman's hands are dirty. Nothing you say will change my mind. Well, that didn't seem good. Damn it. You feel as though that wasn't the right way to respond to his claim. Remember, you can read his psychological report or profile to determine the best way to respond to his claim. Okay, fine. We'll deflect then. There we go. That sounded like... that was a good sound. Regardless of what Miss Tymor has done, I'm the one heading this case. Whatever problems you have with her, they have nothing to do with me. I felt like deflecting was the right thing to do, but then it said defend yourself, so I picked defend. That still doesn't change the fact you work for her. I've seen that woman do all kinds of shady shit in the cases I've worked. Forgery, bribery, blackmail, you nail it. You name it. You're just another crook. I'll bet you're just the same. A successor for the devil of defense attorneys. I'm not Ruby Tymor, regardless of what you've seen her do. I'm going to run on it's supposed to be, I'm guessing, an honest case, not on honest case, so we're going to defend. I'm not Ruby Tymora. It doesn't matter if the rumors are true or not. Regardless of what you've seen her do, I'm going to run an honest case. Look, kid, I'd like nothing more than to believe you, but after everything I've seen her do, I know better. I have no reason to trust you. Anyone taught by that woman can't be anything more than a crook. You have no proof she's a crook, and you sure don't have proof I'm one either. Nothing I've done has given you any reason to suspect me. Have you seen me engage in any crook-like behavior? Alright, gosh, I'm gonna go with either deflect or rationalize. I'm gonna go with rationalize. Her way of teaching me was ruthless, I'll give you that. But the only thing she taught me was how to practice law. Have you seen me engage in any crook-like behavior? Hey, there we go. A little bit of a rough start, but we got it. You just want some info, right? Yes, that's all I'm asking for. Alright, I'll answer your questions. Just don't make me regret this. This probably goes without saying, but I don't believe the sword is the murder weapon. Right, I guess you have to prove that someone else put the sword there. Did the Inquisition find anything suspicious on the scene? You're asking if we found another bloody weapon lying around? We definitely didn't. That would be a little too convenient, wouldn't it? But let's say the girl really is being framed. If there was another murder weapon, the killer probably walked out with it. Do you think they could have hidden it somewhere in the tavern? Doubt it. After the trial, Steelwind turned the place upside down and scanned it with her magic. Someone did hide a murder weapon here, they hid it well. Or they hid it in plain sight. I can't believe you made such an obvious mistake during your investigation. Okay, that feels a little like, maybe don't say it like that. Oh, shut it with that. I already got an earful from Steelwind about that mess. Well, you don't have to worry about me mucking things up. Steelwind's basically taken over the entire investigation. Wait, does she have the authority to do that? Normally she wouldn't, but I know better than to go against orders from a noble. There's definitely a strange power dynamic between them, but honestly, that girl sweats the details too much. She even had my men draw up a scaled map of the crime scene. Wait, really? Do you have a copy? Sure, knock yourself out. Don't know how much good it will do you. I heard that this was Prosecutor Steelwind's first trial. She must be pretty talented if that's true. Pain in my ass is what she is. That damned noble comes in here telling me how to do my job? I honestly have no idea what she's even doing in this line of work. I heard she's from a renowned noble house. She must be a pretty powerful mage. Ha! Powerful is an understatement. Any one of the Steelwinds could turn this entire town into a glass crater. What? There's no way that's true, right? Alright, that's it for that. Okay, let's examine the whole thing about, like, seeing something in plain sight. The Inquisition lit some candles, but there's a lamp right here. I wonder why they're not using those instead. I kind of like this way of doing it, rather than, like, you having to... I like that you can just kind of, like, hover over something, and you can tell right away, like, boom, investigate. There's a modern-looking lamp mounted on the wall. It's a lamp powered by artificery. I didn't expect to find something this sophisticated in a town like this. Bah, artificery is just another form of magic. Actually, artificery draws from surrounding ether, too. I didn't ask for a science lesson, kid. Anyways, look where artificery got these folks. The arcane power cell broke, and they haven't had power for weeks. Yep, nothing can beat good old oil and flame. Okay, broken power cell. Oh, that was probably the thing, too, about, like, when I confronted the butler and the servant and said, like, you couldn't have seen anything because there was no power. The McCoy Inn is outfitted with several lamps powered by artificery. However, the arcane power cell's been broken for weeks, and the lamps can't be turned on. There's a chalk outline of a person on the ground of the tavern. This is probably where Flintheart died. The outline matches the picture the Inquisition took. Nothing seems out of place here. It's a painting of a man in a suit. There's some text on it. Adam Eveley, politician of the Pedantic. I've heard of this guy. He's some kind of politician from one of the nations west of here. I heard he's pretty much a shoo-in to win whatever election they have going there. An election? Was Flintheart studying democracies for his revolution? Why do I have a feeling this guy's gonna end up being like the big baddie at the end that we have to take down? It's a painting of a mage, and there's some text on it. Somala Dalian, a legendary practitioner of the arcane arts. He mysteriously disappeared on day. It's rumored he was developing a formula for a new transmutation spell. However, he was negligent in casting the spell, and Dalian quickly lost control of its magic. His body was never found. Many speculate he didn't actually die during the accident, but if that's true, where did he end up? Sounds like a cautionary tale against using magic. It might explain why Flintheart kept it at the tavern. Nope. There's a broken bottle on the floor, shattered close to the chalk outline of the body. The label has the words lotus juice on it. Never heard of that brand before. It must be foreign. There's probably more to that than we think. The shattered remains of a glass bottle found next to where the body was. The label says the words lotus juice. Alright, anything else? Can I, like, move the screen? Okay, so from what I can see, it seems like I've checked everything in the room. Alright, you think you found everything you can here, but what does it all mean? There's no murder weapon to be found, and there's no obvious evidence of a third party at the scene. Hey, you okay? You got quiet all of a sudden. Alright, just focus. Close your eyes and let everything else disappear from the world. Hey, you listening? So, there's no clear evidence pointing to another killer. There is, however, evidence pointing to how Flintheart moved before his death. What? What can we tell about how Flintheart died? There's no blood trail leading to or from the body. What does this imply about the location of Flintheart's death? Oh, this is cool. Okay, the killer attacked Flintheart's... I mean... Flintheart's didn't move during the murder, I'm guessing? Oh, that's kind of neat. Flintheart died where he was attacked. He didn't move from his position at all. Yeah, I guess you're right. There's also the autopsy report, which says he died from a stab from behind. He was probably caught off guard and was too incapacitated to move anywhere else, which means the attack happened at the exact position he fell over. Okay, let's view the crime scene map. Oh, I guess I can't. There's also the shattered bottle of lotus juice. How did the bottle shatter? I doubt it means anything, but the shattered bottle is right next to the body. Okay, so maybe the killer placed the bottle. Oh gosh. Flintheart dropped the bottle during the attack. Flintheart dropped the bottle when he was attacked. From that, we can infer he was holding it the moment before he was attacked. What's so strange about one bottle, though? It may seem like an insignificant detail, but that detail could help me infer other elements of what happened during the murder. Right. There's also the fact the artificial lights were out. Were these candles here when you arrived at the crime scene, Orem? No, we had to light some so we could see the crime scene properly. We thought it was weird, too. The girl and her father must have had their argument in pitch-black darkness. Okay, so they didn't light any candles to make up for the broken lights. Okay, so the crime scene had no lighting during the murder. The crime scene had no lighting during the murder. The argument Celeste had with Flintheart must have been spontaneous. They weren't planning to have a conversation in this room. In this darkness, Flintheart wouldn't have had a lot of visibility. If he was stabbed from behind, he probably didn't see it coming. He was clearly surprised and was probably in too much shock to run away. The bottle seems insignificant, but he was holding it when he was attacked. Maybe he was pouring a drink for himself. Or maybe it was for a visitor. Either way, the assailant must have been unseen by Flintheart. Kid? Or the assailant attacked him from his blind spot while his back was turned. Why would his back be turned, though? Was he distracted by something? Kid! What? What was that all about? Sorry, sometimes I just get lost in my own thoughts. Yeah, well, cut it out. You're freaking me out. Right. Anyways, you think you found everything you can here. You should move somewhere else. Alright, let's check out the upstairs. If people keep seeing you here, they're going to start asking questions. Leave the investigation to me. All you have to do is stay quiet until the trial is over. While heading upstairs, you spot Steelwind having a conversation with someone. They seem to be in some kind of argument. Ah, enough. I will do as I see fit. I bet that's probably like her brother or someone. You may be a Steelwind, but this is my land. Or not. Obviously a noble, though. Oh, sorry. Oh, you're that defense attorney from the trial. I am. I'm sorry, but who... Ah, how rude of me. My name is Lord Garrick Pierce, the ruling noble of this land. Okay. Ah, his arcane art is also transmutation. As the ruling noble, I suppose I should thank you for playing your role in the current trial, as misguided as it may be. I suppose you also think my client is guilty. It does not matter what I think. This entire scandal has done nothing but rile up the common folk. Magic is a gift for the nobility, and the nobility alone. It's a symbol of the aristocracy and our divine right to rule. And now that bastard child has tainted that symbol in the public eye. All of that has nothing to do with her. She's just an innocent woman who got wrapped up in all this. Even if she is innocent, the charges have been laid and made public. Someone must take the fall, lest the public accuse the justice system of corruption. So you're saying she should be found guilty, even if she's innocent? What do you suppose will happen if she's acquitted? All the public will see is a mage going free in spite of a myriad of evidence. That alone will be enough to cause public outrage. Tensions between the aristocracy and the common folk are high enough as is. What is one insignificant girl when compared to the stability of our great kingdom? That's enough. Stop antagonizing him, Pierce. I can't refute what he said, but I don't agree with it. What? The system should be based on truth and justice, not on public opinion. And why are you working against my client? Do you honestly think she's the kind of person that would kill her father? It doesn't matter what kind of person she appears to be. The evidence clearly points to her as the only possible killer. But you should fight according to your own ideals, just as I will fight for mine. I mean, good on her. She seems like she at least is, not willing to twist things, but I guess that's just at face value. She could just be saying that to appear good. But there must be a reason, like they said. She's a noble. Why is she a prosecutor? I'm guessing something happened to her where she's like, I feel like I have to, I don't know, prosecute criminals because maybe something happened to her when she was younger, to a family. It's hard to get a read on that woman. There's a door at the end of the hallway. It looks like it's seen some use recently. You try to open the door, but it seems to be locked. Perhaps someone might have a key to enter it. There's some candles lighting up the hallway. They look like they used to be part of the old architecture. There are several doors that lead to guest rooms. Aside from the rooms you and Miss Timora used, they don't look like they've been open for quite some time. Okay, it looks like I have seen everything here, so we're going to go ahead and move to the barracks. You return to the cell Celeste is being kept in. The ambient despair in the air fills your mind like a horrendous stench. You do your best to ignore the emotions of the other prisoners, but you haven't had much practice blocking out this many people. As you arrive, you see Celeste huddled down in a corner. As soon as she sees you, dour mood seems to lift, if only for a moment. Oh, hi, Mr. Cuthbert. There's no need to address me so formally. Just call me Tyrion. Okay. Anyway, I came here to ask you some questions about the case. Right. I wanted to apologize for freezing up like that. I almost lost us the trial. No, there's no need to apologize. You did great. It was only thanks to her. If she hadn't calmed you down, who knows what would have happened. But I still don't understand, though. Why were there traces of magic on my dad's body? Right, there were traces of magic on the sword and the body. Magical traces are particles of magical residue that are left behind when a mage casts a spell. They only linger around for 48 hours. It gives you a rough timeline of when and where a spell is cast. Did you cast Mage Blade on your sword that day? I did. I cast it during my morning exercises. That explains why there was a trace on the sword, at least. Did the trace on my sword leave the magical trace on my dad's body? No, magical traces don't exist in the physical world. For a spell to leave a trace, the spell has to be active when physical contact is made. Really? What does that mean, then? It means whatever killed your father had a transmutation spell active on it at the time. The magical trace on your sword was just a lucky coincidence for the real killer. I can't believe this. Could you tell me more about your father? Sorry, I know this must be hard for you after everything that's happened. No, it's okay. If it helps, I'll try my best to answer your questions. Were you too close? We were. I'm sure you know this by now, but I was adopted by him and my mom. Even though I didn't have their blood, they treated me like family. He loves me with all his heart until... Until what? Does this have something to do with the argument they had? I'm sorry to say this, but I could hear your argument from my room that night. Could you tell me about what happened? For as long as I can remember, my dad has hated mages. I'm not sure why, but if you even mention magic around him, he'll fly into a rage. So I hid my magical abilities from my family. They should have known the young girl with bright white hair. Usually that's a sign that they're a magic user. But why learn magic in the first place? If you really wanted to, you could have gone your whole life without using it. Ever since our tavern closed, my family's been in a lot of debt. I decided to become a mercenary and use magic to enhance my swordplay. Most mages are in the nobility, so people will pay a lot for a sellsword who can use magic. So that's why she's a mercenary. But I know now, learning magic was the biggest mistake I've ever made. On that night, my dad found my spell compendium. When he confronted me about it, I finally came clean to him. That's when he flew into another one of his rages. He shouted at me. He told me I'd betrayed him and his family. I'm so sorry. I can't imagine how that must have felt. I deserved every bit of it. I knew how much he hated magic, but I learned to use it anyways. He showed me so much love and I just threw it all away. Don't say that. I'm sure he still loved you. No, I could see it in his eyes. He hated me. You feel a sharp pain in your chest as you see that thought, and he died hating me. So, there's a locked room in the tavern. It's at the very end of the hallway upstairs. The Inquisition probably searched it already, but I just wanted to investigate to make sure. I bet you there's going to be something at the end where we're going to have proof, maybe going in a room, like his room, that he loved her, and we can show that to her, and be like, he didn't die hating you. A locked room at the end of the hallway? I think that's my room. Do you know how I could get in? It's the only room in the tavern I haven't investigated. You feel a suspicious gaze from Celeste. What's that look for? I'm your lawyer. I'm not going to do anything weird. Sorry, you're right. Here, you can use this key to get inside. Alright, that's it. We'll do some investigating. Lit torches are hanging on the wall of the cell. Seems a bit irresponsible to put a potentially harmful item in here with the prisoners. But perhaps the Inquisition doesn't care. The cell is a barred window. Even if a prisoner somehow broke through the bars, there's a 3-story drop to freedom. There's only one locked room that leads into the cell. The door seems to be locked by some kind of magical mechanism. Alright, let's move to the bedroom. You use the key to enter Celeste's room. However, you're startled when you notice someone else is already inside. I've already told you, knights, everything I know. What more do you... Oh, you're Celeste's attorney. I am. Who are you? Oh, sorry. I'm Jolene McCoy. I'm Celeste's mother. I was at the trial this morning. I can't thank you enough for everything you've done for my daughter. I don't know, she seems a little sus. Like, she's just been kind of hiding away this whole time. We know that she's not the one who killed, but still, like, she didn't show up at all for any of this, and she seemed kind of unbothered by the fact her husband's dead, and her daughter is, like, accused of murder. So this is Celeste's mother. She might be able to tell you more about Flintheart. Miss McCoy, do you mind if I ask you some questions for my investigation? Of course, anything I can do to help. Can you tell me why your husband hated mages so much? I understand most people dislike the nobility and associate magic with them, but that night, it's like he was furious at Celeste, specifically because she was a mage. Oh, you must have talked to Celeste. I wasn't there when their argument happened, but I can only imagine what he said to her. Do you know what happened to him? Why does he hate magic so much? Celeste doesn't know this, but Flintheart had a sister named Effie. When we were all children, we were friends with a boy named Garrick Pierce. Ah, he was the son of the ruling noble at the time. Garrick Pierce? Isn't that the nobleman you saw arguing with Steelwood? We were all inseparable at the time. He'd always sneak into town to play with us against his family's wishes. They probably weren't too happy about that. He was quite rebellious back then, nothing like he is now. But everything changed when Garrick began to learn how to use magic. One day, when we were playing together, he wanted to show off one of the spells he'd learned. Oh no, he killed Effie, didn't he? He was told not to use his magic without his instructor there, but he was just too excited. He began showing us all his spells, but something went horribly wrong. He lost control of the spell and fatally wounded Effie. We tried bringing her back to town, but by then it was too late. She was already gone, and the fact that they covered it up, because you can't have the noble be accused of murder, right? So I get it. I'm sorry, that must have been traumatizing for all of you. The next day, the Arcane Inquisition came to investigate what happened. The Pierce family used their influence to make them cover everything up. They even threatened Flintheart's family to keep him quiet. After that, the official story was Effie had been mauled by a wolf. That's not surprising. The nobility would never take responsibility for their mistakes. Even an innocent mistake like that. Something changed in Flintheart after that. He began speaking out against the nobility. Eventually, he started hosting rallies at his tavern. Each night, more and more people began listening to his words and joining his cause. The amount of people he'd gotten under his banner was terrifying. There was even talk of an outright revolution against the kingdom. Ah, that might explain why someone would go out of their way to kill him. I knew how much danger he was putting himself in, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't quell the burning hatred in his heart. So that goes back to that night where, like he said, like, maybe we can talk like friends, and then Flintheart just snapping on him. Understandable, considering the guy killed his sister. His attitude didn't begin to change until we adopted Celeste. Can you tell me more about Celeste? How did she become a part of your family? It all happened many years ago, back when the McCoy Tavern was still open. I'm sorry, Jolene, for doubting you. You seem cool. I'm just like, where was she during all of this? But things could change, but for now, she passes the vibe check, I guess. We were closing one night. We found a baby with white hair abandoned in the dining area. You should have known right there. Like I said, baby, kid with white hair, they're going to be special. They're going to be nobility. They're going to probably be able to use magic. We waited weeks for her parents to come by, but nobody ever came looking for her. And that baby was Celeste? Yes, Flintheart and I always wanted a child. I thought Celeste must have been a gift from the gods. But one day, I saw Celeste practicing her magic. I think that's when I realized someone from the nobility must have abandoned her at our inn. I didn't care, though. I loved her all the same. I'm sure Flintheart did, too. Wait, you knew she was a mage all this time? I did. You haven't known her very long, but she's a terrible liar. Flintheart must have noticed, too, but I think he didn't want to believe it. Oh, it's my fault. I should have forced him to see the truth. I spoke with Celeste earlier. She thinks her father hated her because she was a mage. There's no way he would ever feel that way. He loved her more than anything in the world. No matter what he said to her that night, nothing would ever change that. He figured as much. Celeste was the world to him. When we adopted her, it was the first time in decades I'd seen him so genuinely happy. They must have been really close. More than anything. Do you want to hear a story? Celeste had just returned from her travels. She wouldn't stop talking about this foreign drink she loved. Oh, that's the lotus juice. I think it was called lotus juice or something strange like that. Well, Flintheart did everything he could to have it shipped here. He called in a bunch of favors with some of his revolutionary friends. And that's going to be the thing we're going to prove to Celeste, to be like, your father didn't hate you because he got you this thing for you. But in the end, he was only able to get a single bottle of it. Is it really that rare? Yes, I wouldn't be surprised if it was the only bottle of lotus juice in the region. Wait a minute, lotus juice. Is this the bottle Flintheart bought? You bring out a picture of the shattered bottle you found next to Flintheart's body. It is. Oh no, he was going to surprise her with it. I found the broken pieces next to Flintheart's. Well, I found them in the dining area. That's strange. He'd been keeping it in our room so she wouldn't find it. Really? When was the last time you saw it? Right before I left the house that night. It was right before their big argument. So it wasn't just laying around in the bar. He made the decision to retrieve it after the argument. Alright, I think I've investigated everything I can for now, but there's still one last thing I need to do. Well, whatever it is, good luck. You ready yourself for one last conversation with Celeste. Oh, you're back. Did you forget something? Actually, there's one last thing I wanted to talk to you about. Oh? Earlier, you said something I just can't let go. You said your father died hating you. After everything I heard about him, I don't think that's true. Your father loved you, Celeste, even in his final moments. You desperately want to reach her. If she keeps believing he hated her, that thought will eat away at her for the rest of her life. You know that better than anyone. It's not true. He's just trying to make me feel better. But it looks like it won't be that simple. You'll need to win an argument against her if you want her to see the truth. Celeste believes her father died hating her, but after seeing them together and learning about them, you know that can't possibly be true. You just need to convince her of that. I know you're just trying to make me feel better, and I really do appreciate it, but everyone knows my father hated mages. He's always hated magic. There's no reason behind it. Okay, so now we talk about this. I don't know if that's my place to say, but there is a reason why your father hated magic so much. What? When Flintheart was a child, he had a younger sister. She was tragically killed by a mage decades ago. That is why he has such a hatred of magic. I never knew. But that doesn't change anything. That's all the more reason for him to have hated me. It was selfish of me to learn magic. I knew how much he hated magic, but I still learned it despite that. Magic killed someone he loved. No wonder he was furious. Now, what are we using for this is like the reason... Oh, here it is. So she can support her family. But you didn't learn magic to benefit yourself, did you? You learned it to save your family after your tavern was shut down. Your tavern was shut down. You're a good person, Celeste, and you did everything you could to help your family. I'm sure your father recognized that. Just shut up. What? Shut up. Just stop it. Whatever composure Celeste had is slowly breaking down. You weren't there. You didn't hear what he said to me. In his final moments, he could only think of how I betrayed him. I could see it in his eyes. There's no way he would ever forgive me. Time to land the decisive blow. Lotus juice, go! Take a look at this picture, Celeste. What? It's a shattered bottle. Wait, is that a bottle of lotus juice? Do you know where I found this? On the floor of your family's inn. What? That can't be true. I tried to find it, but no one sells it in the region. Your father knew how much you loved this drink. He called in quite a few favors just so he could have it imported for you. What? He did that? Your father didn't hate you, Celeste. He loved you more than anything. That doesn't change anything. If he did all that for me, it was before he knew about my secret. I'm sure he never would have done that if he knew the truth. It's not true at all. What the hell would you know about him? You've never even met him. How could you possibly know how he felt about me? I mean, I did meet him. Don't you think I want to believe he still loved me before he died? But I know the truth. There's no way he would ever forgive me for what I did. It's not just the fact he bought that drink for you. It's also where the bottle was when it shattered. What do you mean? Your mother said the bottle was stowed in her room before your argument, but I found the shattered bottle in the lobby where his body was. I ran into him before I went to look for you. He was going upstairs to his room. That can only mean one thing. He went to retrieve the bottle after your argument ended. What? Why would he have it? It's because he was going to give it to you, Celeste. He was going to give you a gift to apologize for how he acted. He was going to apologize? Your father loved you, Celeste, and as tragic as it is, he was going to try to apologize to you before he was murdered. I don't like this. My daughter, working as a mercenary of all things. Oh, come on, Dad. You know I can handle myself. I don't doubt it, but you still shouldn't have to risk your neck for our sakes. Like, close the inn, Dad. We won't be able to survive unless I do this. Just be careful, okay? I don't know what I'd do if anything happened to you. No matter what anyone says, you're our daughter, and we'll love you till the day we die. Dad, how could I ever think that... I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Dad. Celeste had barely been keeping it together throughout the whole argument, but the realization you brought her finally broke her composure. She began crying loudly as she quickly embraced you. In this cold, dark place, she probably hadn't felt warmth of any kind for days. You were caught off guard and felt a little embarrassed, but you comforted her while she vented her emotions. Are you feeling better? Yeah, I think I'm okay now. I can't believe I've been thinking such horrible things. She looks at you and gives you a warm smile. It's probably the first time you've seen her genuinely smile since this whole ordeal started. Thank you, Tyrion. Is everything really going to be okay? I'll make sure of it. I'll get justice for you and your father. It doesn't matter who stands in my way. Even if they're a man, king, or god. Wow, you're completely different now. What happened to the nervous wreck from before? Please forget about that. Anyways, take some time to rest. The trial's going to resume soon. With that, you've done everything you can for now. You've learned a lot about what happened the night of the murder. You just hope it's enough. But even with your investigation, you still don't know what the prosecution has planned. Alright, I guess we're doing the whole thing. I keep waiting for the game to be like, demo over, buy the full game now, but it keeps going. Has Pierce told you all the details, Mr. Rudolph? Will you remember them? Yes, I pride myself on my eidetic memory. Just so there are no misunderstandings, I do not approve of this. You said it yourself, Lady Steelwood. There's no possible way that I could have done the deed. It has to be the bastard child. We don't know what sort of tricks Ruby Tymora might pull tomorrow. Just see this as a way of securing the just verdict. Alright, it's time. Hello, Cuthbert. Oh, hi, Miss Tymora. You're a lot less jumpy than you were yesterday. I'm glad to see you're finally getting used to things. So, what did you find in your investigation? You tell Miss Tymora about everything you've learned over your investigation. There aren't a lot of clues that point to what actually happened. Yeah, I know a lot of details about the crime scene, but nothing about the crime itself. Which means I'll have to rely solely on pointing out contradictions in the witnesses' testimonies. Being reactive to the prosecution's moves is a valid strategy. Honestly, I think it was a miracle you got the commander to cooperate with you at all. Right, you almost forgot. Commander White really has it out for Miss Tymora. Actually, I wanted to ask you about that. Did something happen between you and Commander White? Miss McCoy, please proceed to the courtroom with your defense team. What if it was just like a lover's spat and he's just real salty about it? Let's go, Tyrion. The trial's about to start. You should go. The judge is waiting. Right. Another secret is left buried between you two. Court is now resumed for the trial of Celeste McCoy. Let us review the proceedings from yesterday. Yesterday, the defense presented some shocking oversights made during the investigation. Yes, I personally saw to it the investigation was conducted properly this time. I see. I suppose that puts my mind at ease. At yesterday's trial, we found an inconsistency between the crime scene photo and the autopsy report. Because of this, the defense tried to push the following narrative: that a third party must have interfered with the crime scene to frame the defendant. However, the prosecution has discovered another explanation. The individual who discovered the body would like to testify as to what he saw that night. His eyewitness account will clear up what actually happened. Interesting. It was my understanding the individual in question wanted to remain anonymous. Supposedly, this witness was within the gallery of the trial yesterday. After yesterday's proceedings, he felt he couldn't stay silent any longer. So that's her plan. But why would the witness change his mind like that? Did Steelwind persuade him? Or is something suspicious afoot? Very well, let's hear from this witness. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. My name is Rise Reginald Riz? I don't know how I was saying it before. Rise Reginald Rudolph. I am a chauffeur of the equine variety. I'm terribly sorry, but I'm unfamiliar with that profession. He means to say he's a carriage driver. Oh, I see. But in any case, it's my understanding you found the body. Am I correct, Mr. Rudolph? Rudolph appears to be writing something in a notebook. He writes with incredible speed. His pen only makes contact with the paper for maybe a second before he's filled an entire page. Mr. Rudolph. Ah, forgive me. I was merely taking notes of the people in this room. Taking notes. The witness has a certain compulsion to keep a record of every event he witnesses. I see. Then I assume we will receive an accurate testimony of how you found the body. Actually, I witnessed much more than that. I saw the crime as it was being committed, and I recorded everything that I saw. What? That is quite the claim. If that's true, why did you choose to remain silent until now? We had initially concluded the evidence alone was decisive enough. Therefore, we saw no need at the time for his testimony. However, those circumstances clearly changed during yesterday's trial. There's no way the prosecution wouldn't leverage eyewitness testimony from the start. Something else is happening here. Very well. Mr. Rudolph, please testify to the court about what you saw that night. Of course. I was transporting a client in my carriage that evening. We were driving by the McCoy Tavern when we heard a disturbance. This occurred at 1:28 a.m. Worried something was amiss, I walked into the establishment to see what the commotion was about. There I saw the defendant. She was lit up right away. The blue glow of the dining room lights. I mean, obviously we know that's bullshit. She had stabbed Flintheart McCoy and was channeling magic into her sword. She removed her sword from Flintheart's chest, and as he slowly turned himself to face her, she stabbed him again in the front. She soon realized I had witnessed her heinous crime. She let the body fall to the ground and fled the scene. Incredible. If everything occurred as the witness described, I see no room for debate. Of course, the evidence has always been irrefutable. You don't remember seeing him when you left to look for Celeste, but it was pretty dark. Celeste, did you see this man that night? No, this is my first time meeting him, and I didn't see him when I ran out of the tavern. So he has to be lying. Does that mean he's the one who killed my dad? She tries her best to hide it, but you can sense her restlessness. It's hard to say right now, but it's definitely a possibility. The defense may now begin their cross-examination. I mean, I know immediately what I want to pinpoint. All right, we're going to present the broken power cell. Witness, you testified you saw my client murdering the victim. What's more, you claim to have seen her performing magic while doing so. I think this is where we, started this whole thing where he was like, you didn't see anything. Yes, I could never forget such a grisly sight. That moment was burned into my memory. It's funny you say that. How so? Because your entire testimony is a lie. Yep, was a complete lie. What? Are you accusing the witness of perjury, Mr. Cuthbert? You should know better than to throw out baseless accusations. My accusation is far from baseless, I almost said Professor. Prosecutor Steelwind. Take a look at this report. Dining room lights are artificial devices that are powered by an arcane power cell. However, that same arcane power cell was broken during the time of the murder. The dining room lights had no energy, and the room would have been pitch black. The witness couldn't have seen anything, much less a homicide. Wait, I can explain. There's no need, witness. You could have easily seen another source of light. Perhaps one of the McCoys lit a candle because of the blackout. The witness clearly described a source of blue light. A candle or lantern wouldn't emit a color like that. Then the witness was clearly mistaken. The witness records everything he sees in his notebook. He even remembers the exact times that each event occurred. So why would he be incorrect about such a clear and obvious detail? No, what the witness saw was clearly some form of magic, whether it be artificery or an arcane spell. That's it. What is it, witness? I must have made an incorrect assumption. Please allow me to revise my testimony. What do you think of this, Prosecutor Steelwind? If the witness wants to revise his testimony, then I see no harm in obliging him. And you, Mr. Cuthbert? If he thinks he saw something different, it's only fair to hear him out. He'll tear through each of his lies, no matter what he does. I remember now. Yesterday, it was revealed Flintheart was killed using magic. I must have seen Flintheart's daughter channeling a magical spell. If I'm not mistaken, they said it was a yellow light, right? Not blue. The spell was called Mage Blade, am I correct? That's it, the blue glow. No, that is also wrong. The blue glow I saw must have been created by Mage Blade. I see. So the blue light you saw came from the defendant's magic. Mr. Cuthbert, you may proceed with your cross-examination. With pleasure. Okay, there we go. So let's present the spell. Yeah, that's right. A yellow radiant glow. Mr. Rudolph, you don't know much about magic, do you? Of course not. Are you trying to say I should have recognized Celeste's Mage Blade? No, I admit you probably wouldn't know about Mage Blade, but that's exactly where your mistake was. My mistake? Mr. Rudolph, if you were aware of how Mage Blade works, then you would know the spell emits a yellow radiant glow. Which means that the blue glow you saw couldn't have possibly been my client casting Mage Blade. This is ridiculous. The witness clearly remembers seeing a blue glow, I'll grant you that, but what significance could such a minor detail have? It's extremely significant, Prosecutor Steelwind. The witness did see a blue magical glow, then he must have witnessed another spell at the scene. Preposterous, you don't have any evidence to back up that claim. That blue light made a large impression on the witness. He wrote it down in his book, right down to the exact color. There's no way he'd be mistaken about something like that. So, what did you really see, Mr. Rudolph? Did you see my client at the scene casting a spell that she couldn't possibly cast? Is he going to be like, she had other spells, and be like, no, she didn't? Or is he getting it mixed up because the spell that, what's his name? What is the guy's name? Garrick or something? Yeah, Garrick. So maybe he uses, because he uses transmutation, but maybe his is blue. So he got them mixed up. Or did you see another mage at the scene? Well. Your Honor, the defense has no right to accuse the witness like this. Let me remind you that perjury is a crime, Mr. Rudolph. If you're found to have lied in your testimony, you will be prosecuted. No, wait, please. Now, that's quite enough of that. Garrick Pierce suddenly steps down from the gallery and walks to the witness stand. He's breaking every possible rule in the book, but no one in the room dares to stop him. The bailiff looks to the judge nervously. The judge just narrows his eyes and carefully watches Pierce. Pierce, meanwhile, shoves a still flustered Rudolph off the stand and begins addressing the courtroom. What is he even doing here? I will not stand by while you harass my servant. Pierce, we discussed this. There's no need for you to take the stand. And what, pray tell, did they discuss? Nonsense. I've nothing to hide. And if you'd done your job properly, I wouldn't have needed to intervene. For the first time, Steelwind doesn't seem to have control of the situation. What is the meaning of this, Miss Steelwind? Who is this man? This is Garrick Pierce, Your Honor. That is Lord Garrick Pierce to you. I am the honorable heir to the Pierce noble house. In any case, I must apologize. I'm afraid that these misunderstandings are entirely my fault. What do you mean? You see, Rudolph wasn't the one who witnessed the crime that fateful night. It was me. I was the one who witnessed the crime. I had my driver report the body so that I could remain anonymous. What? Are you saying that you had Rudolph lie for you? I simply dictated to him what I saw and had him repeat that to law enforcement. It simply wouldn't do for a member of the nobility to appear publicly in court. Lord Pierce, regardless of your intentions, this is a very clear act of perjury. But from the look on the judge's face, you can easily tell he won't face any actual consequences. I understand, and I will accept the consequences of that. But I would be remiss if Rudolph's shoddy testimony allowed that girl to escape her crimes. Please let me testify as to what I saw that night. Very well. This is highly irregular, but I believe the court will benefit from hearing your testimony. However, know that this misconduct has hurt your credibility. Very well. Alright, let's see if we're going to be wrapping this up soon. Because usually the introductory ones are always the shorter ones. Although this is still pretty long, like even for like a first case. On the night of the murder, I found myself unable to sleep. Because usually with Ace Attorney games, like, if I remember, like, almost all of them, like, the very first case, you don't actually investigate the crime scene. You basically are just in the courtroom, and it's just kind of like, you're just getting the information as you go. On the night of the murder, I found myself unable to sleep, so I went on a leisurely carriage ride around Cornhaven. I happened to be passing by the McCoy Tavern when I heard a loud commotion from within the building. Curious, I stopped my carriage and took a single step inside the establishment. Then, I saw the scene inside. I saw the defendant stabbing that poor man twice with her sword. Garrick Pierce, he's a member of the nobility. That means he's probably a mage, right? And he's the only other mage that was there that night. Does that mean... There's no doubt about it. He's the only person that could have left a trace of transmutation on the body. He has to be the mage we're looking for. I'm sorry, this must be a lot for you to take in. Don't worry about me. Focus on taking him down. Alright, so we're gonna press his stuff here. That seems like a strange way to pass the time, now that you believe him for a second. The witness's eccentricities are besides the point. What matters is he was clearly at the scene. I wouldn't quite put it that way, but nevertheless. Okay, I happened to be passing by the tavern when I heard a commotion. I'm guessing this commotion was the argument between my client and the victim. One would conclude that, yes. As we all know, both of them became quite loud during the argument. It's not unreasonable to say the witness heard them from his carriage. Alright, I stopped my carriage and took a single step inside the establishment. Oh, I haven't even taken a look at this map yet. It was at the tavern entrance. Then that would mean he was here. Okay, a geometrically scaled map of the crime scene. Flintheart died at the location of the V marker. Garrick Pierce claims to have witnessed the murder from the W marker, but that's impossible as he wouldn't have had proper lighting. You saw the entire scene from the tavern entrance? It'd be quite dark considering the lights weren't operational, even if my client was using Mage Blade at the time. Ah, of course. I'd forgotten that detail. I couldn't see what was happening, so I used my magic to illuminate the scene. You used magic at the crime scene? Yes, I remember it clearly. I conjured a blue light to illuminate the scene. That same blue light must have been what my driver saw. I thought Rudolph didn't witness the crime at all. If I had to guess, Mr. Rudolph must have seen the blue light from the carriage. He must have made that detail a part of his testimony earlier. That actually makes a lot of sense now that you think about it. Rudolph was so sure he saw a blue light. It'd be strange if he was lying about that. But anyways, which spell did you use to illuminate the crime scene? It was the Conjure Light spell. Alright, let's see this one. Okay, so gesture none, duration 1 hour, concentration yes. For the duration of the spell, a mote of magical light appears in the caster's hand. The color of the light is chosen by the caster and can be changed at will. This mode of light provides illumination up to 15 feet of the caster and no further. Alright. Your Honor, the witness used magic at the crime scene. I would like for his spell compendium to be added to the court record. I see no reason to invade the witness's privacy over a trivial illumination spell. I agree. The defense would need a stronger reason to requisition the witness's spell compendium. Right you are, Your Honor. Your wisdom is truly fitting of your station. Oh, shut up. Casting a spell seems like a pretty significant detail to forget. For you, maybe, but for a practiced mage like myself, using magic is as natural as moving my arm. You admit that like you wouldn't know what it's like to be a mage. Okay, seems like a strange way to pass the time. Wait. Lord Pierce is definitely the real murderer, which means there had to be a lie somewhere in his testimony. He keeps saying he stood at the entrance the entire time. If he killed my father, then he would have been further in. Right. Is there any way you can prove he was further inside the building? Okay, let's take a look at the, not the text log. The crime, not the crime scene picture, we want the map. Okay, so it's 5 by 5. So I appreciate that they have that. So if he was standing here, they said 15 feet and no further. Would that be enough evidence? Okay, I'm gonna try that with the I stopped and took a single step inside the establishment. Okay, let's present the map and see if this is it. About, like, the fact that it wouldn't have been able to reach. Lord Pierce, you said you illuminated the scene from the tavern entrance. You didn't take a single step into the building. Of course not. I remember it very clearly. I stood only at the entrance. In that case, I'd like for you to take a look at the map of the tavern. If we take a look at this map, that would place you right here, where the W is. Am I correct? Of course I was. I do not know what you wish to achieve by having me repeat that fact. Well, I find it interesting you illuminated the crime scene from all the way back there, considering the conjure light only illuminates an area within 15 feet. What? The spell's range is irrelevant. We've already established the victim would have been illuminated by Mageblade. During his testimony, Lord Pierce clearly stated he couldn't see what was happening. That's why he cast Conjure Light in the first place. However, Conjure Light doesn't work like a normal source of light. It only provides illumination up to 15 feet of the caster and no further. If he had stayed at the entrance, his spell wouldn't have done anything to help illuminate the scene. But what does this mean? Lord Pierce, did you illuminate the crime scene or not? Oh, well, I can answer that question for you, Your Honor. Lord Pierce did illuminate the scene of the crime. He illuminated it because he was standing right where it happened. Mr. Cuthbert, are you trying to say Lord Pierce was that close to where the murder occurred? How would that be possible? Well, there's only one way the scenario would make sense, Your Honor. And that would be if Garrick Pierce was the one who murdered Flintheart McCoy. Hold on for a moment. This is absurd. I could have easily used a different spell to illuminate the room. It's funny this always happens where it's like the actual murderer has to be, like, even without being asked to take the witness stand, it's like they think they're so smart. They're like, oh, if I explain everything, I can get away with this. Like, I will have the perfect, like, testimony, and I'm gonna get away with it. And then it ends up being their undoing. And which spell would that be, Pierce? The name escapes me. I'm not sure which one it was now that I think about it. You idiot. Well, maybe we can figure it out together. When you relinquish your spell compendium to the court. What? This is a clear violation of my privacy. Steelwind, why aren't you objecting to this? If you had listened to my instructions, you wouldn't be in this situation. You've made your bed, now lie in it. Steelwind, you treacherous. Now we're gonna get to see the smoking gun. We're gonna get to see his other spell, which is probably also like a blade of some kind or something to be able to cause this. That's enough. It appears the prosecution has no objections. With everything that has occurred, I must ask that Lord Pierce relinquish his spell compendium to the court. Let's see. Prestidigitation, Conjure Light, Conjure Water, Frost Wave, and Shape Liquid. Oh, the Shape Liquid, right? Shape Liquid into probably like a spike or a sword or something sharp to pierce through. Okay, there's a lot of spells here. I said it right the first time. Prestidigitation. That feels like that's it. A snap of the fingers, indefinitely duration. The caster creates a simple and harmless visual effect around their hand. This effect will last for as long as they maintain concentration. Conjure Water. Causes water to magically flow out of the caster's hand. The water will flow so long as the caster maintains concentration on the spell. Frost Wave. Anything caught in range is hit with a blast of extremely cold air. Liquids hit will be immediately frozen, and organic life will immediately enter stages of hypothermia. Shape Liquid. While concentrating on the spell, the caster can magically manipulate up to 10 liters of liquid and form it into complex shapes. At any time, the caster can choose to freeze the liquid and solidify its current shape. After that spell ends, the frozen liquid will immediately melt. I wonder which one could have possibly been used. Good job, Tyrion. We got a spell compendium. With that, this case is as good as yours. Or is it? She didn't even try to stop you from taking his spell compendium. She wouldn't let that happen just to spite Lord Pierce. She definitely still has something else up her sleeve. Guess maybe it's not ending as soon as I thought. Your Honor, I have looked at the spells in Lord Pierce's compendium. Conjure Light is the only spell he can cast that would shed a blue light, which renders his testimony and many of his statements false. You can practically hear Lord Pierce grinding his teeth. Your Honor, Lord Pierce could very well be a suspect in the murder of Flintheart McCoy. The defense argues this presents enough reasonable doubt to acquit the defendant. I acknowledge Lord Pierce's actions are quite suspect. However, I will not pass a verdict just yet. There's much more we need to learn first. What? That's not how it works. We proved there's reasonable doubt. That should be enough to acquit me, right? I guess it's like they said, they're going to try and screw you over. It's like, no, not only do you have to, like, provide reasonable doubt for your client, but you also have to point out exactly who the murderer is and how they did it. In a normal case, maybe, but it's different for this trial. The public won't accept an unsolved case involving magic. Unless we can unequivocally prove your innocence, the court system will keep drawing out this case. What? But that's not fair. That's just how the system works. Our court system doesn't exist to exact justice. It exists so the kingdom can save face. No. However, the court will be suspending the trial of Celeste McCoy until further notice. That is, until Lord Pierce can be investigated as a possible suspect. A possible suspect? The very idea of that is preposterous, Your Honor. Damn it, you knew she was planning something. Let's revisit the basic facts of this case, shall we? Flintheart McCoy was murdered using a blade with a transmutation spell active on it. Alright, maybe we can wrap this up right now and be like, alright. Is she going to be like, which spell could that have possibly been? Mr. Cuthbert, why don't you tell me the spells Lord Pierce knows? Ah, maybe we can. Let's do it. Let's get this wrapped up. Alright. His spells are Prestidigitation, Conjure Light, Conjure Water, Frost Wave, and Shape Liquid. You've realized it, haven't you? Lord Pierce doesn't know any transmutation spells that can be channeled through a solid object. What? That can't be right. It's a little frustrating sometimes. That happens a lot when I play these games. It's like, you know the answer, but you have to wait for the exact moment that you can present it. It's like you get ahead of it, which feels like kind of nice when you feel like you figured it out, but also at the same time you're like, let me just get to the point. You're right. You're absolutely right, Lady Steelwind. I couldn't have possibly committed the murder. I see. With that in mind, that would leave the defendant as the only possible killer. But he was the only other mage there. He has to be the real murderer. But he doesn't know any transmutation spells that can affect a solid object. We can't prove he stabbed him while casting magic. Wait a minute. How did he do it then? She's right. How did he do it? If there's traces of transmutation magic on the wound, then Flintheart was definitely stabbed by something magical. But none of his transmutation spells can affect a steel blade. Does that mean he used something else? The defense did cast some doubt on the witness's testimony. Nevertheless, I must conclude he could not have possibly committed the murder. With that in mind... Please wait, Your Honor. We still can't conclude Lord Pierce couldn't have committed the crime. What are you on about? Lady Steelwind said it herself, you commoner. I don't know any spells that could be channeled through a metal blade. He's right, which can only mean one thing. You didn't use a metal blade, did you? What nonsense is this? The autopsy report clearly states the wound was created by a blade. If he didn't channel magic through a blade, how could he have possibly committed the crime? See, my thing is, how am I not hearing Pierce's thoughts? Like, it feels like such a, it's a little bit of, like, an oversight of, I can hear the thoughts of people sometimes, but, like, it would be so easy on trial if they're thinking in their head about, like, at some point they're going to think about the crime and how they did it, and then I could just call it out, but then I could just be like, I read your thoughts, and they'd be like, that's not enough evidence to prove anything. Yes, your claim seems quite contrary with the facts thus far, Mr. Cuthbert. Alright, we know this. Come on, which spell did he use? You see, Your Honor, Garrick Pierce didn't kill the victim using a sword. He killed him using an object shaped exactly like a sword. What? I'm afraid I don't quite understand, Mr. Cuthbert. I'd like for the court to take a look at Lord Pierce's spell compendium. Garrick Pierce knows a seemingly insignificant spell called Shape Liquid. With it, he can control a body of water and shape it into any complex shape he wants. Then he can freeze that liquid, maintaining its current shape. A shape like a sword. What? No. Is it possible that he... What do I have to say? What do I have to say for yourself? What do you have to say for yourself, Lord Pierce? What do I have to say? Pierce's breathing becomes more frantic. He's clearly not used to being put in a corner like this. You can see his stress and frustration emanating through the eyes of Horace. You have him now. Time for the finishing blow. I'll tell you exactly what I have to say, you commoner. I'm not the one on trial here. We're here because that bastard child didn't know her place. She's just a peasant. Yet, she still learned ways of the arcane arts. And look what happened. I saw the murder. I witnessed everything. That girl used our holy arts to murder her father in a fit of rage. What am I doing here? About the whole thing again, like you didn't see it? Is this what we're going with again? And how, pray tell, did you see everything? If you recall, you testified you didn't take a single step inside the inn. You would have needed to be within 15 feet to see my client with conjure light. This again? If you're going to keep treading on that one detail, then I admit it. I stepped inside the inn. I kept that detail out of my testimony, because I knew you'd use it to cast suspicion on me. Lord Pierce. But I love this music. It sounds like a true boss fight. But you didn't just keep that detail from your testimony, did you? You testified the opposite. That makes you guilty of committing perjury. No, I mean, you miserable wretch. Okay. Garrick Pierce has openly admitted to committing perjury in the courtroom. His lies haven't gone unnoticed. And let's not stop there. For your story to be true, you would have needed to be within 15 feet of my client. According to your testimony, my client had just finished committing a murder. Wouldn't she have noticed you? If you were that close, you would have surely been close enough to apprehend her. So, why didn't you? Don't you have a duty to your citizens? Shut up. Shut your dirty peasant mouth. That woman was armed. I had no reason to put my life in danger. Ah. Okay, well, obviously that's not true. I was mortified when I saw her holding that bloody sword. My life was in danger. So it's gonna be... the crime scene photo. But that can't be right, can it, Lord Pierce? This photo of the crime scene shows the sword was left in the victim's body. Also, I don't know if Pierce is supposed to be, like, some sort of thing about, like... Because, you know, with Ace Attorney, they always have, like, the gag names. I don't think so, but it's something like, he killed by piercing somebody. How could she still be wielding her sword if she left it there? What? Oh, damn you. Damn you, Steelwind. Why aren't you saying anything? What? Prosecutor Steelwind has lost her usual air of confidence. You find it strange, though. Even when you had the advantage, she always maintained her usual poise. Lord Pierce, please pull yourself together. How can I remain calm when the charlatan's trying to frame me? This is a complete travesty of our justice system. I came here to reveal the truth and testify against the criminal. And what do I get instead? Slander from some lowly defense attorney. Probably about the perjury, right? You talk about justice, but you've committed several acts of perjury to twist the outcome of this trial. You don't care about justice, you just want to further your agenda. So admit it, Pierce. You created a makeshift sword using shape liquid and used it to impale Flintheart. You shoved my client's sword into the wound, while the remnants of the real murder weapon evaporated. It was the perfect crime, wasn't it? Here we go. The villainous breakdown. Come on, let's have it. What? Ha ha ha. Lord Pierce? My apologies, Your Honor. It's just, I realized something absolutely hilarious. What? Has he finally lost his mind? The defense put forward an interesting theory. We're not done yet, but there's one problem with it. And what's that? I think you said it yourself. You shoved Celeste's sword into the wound while the remnants of the real murder weapon evaporated. It was the perfect crime, wasn't it? You see, it would have been the perfect crime, because any evidence to support that theory would have evaporated with that frozen sword. What? No, he's right. If he used an ice sword to kill Flintheart, it would have evaporated by now. Then that means there would be nothing left of the murder weapon. Come on, it's the liquid from the goddamn lotus juice, right? You spun quite the tale here today, but in the end, you don't have a shred of evidence to support it, do you? You have nothing on me. Isn't there anything we can do? You become quiet. Tyrion? Why isn't he saying anything? Is it really hopeless? But all it takes is one look at the expression on your face. Any worry she had instantly disappears, because she realizes the expression on your face, it's the same expression you made every time you defeated her. What is this? You can glare at me all you want. It won't change the fact you've lost. I despise people like you. You twist the system to serve your own ends. You trample on the lives of innocent people. But as long as I'm here, I will never let that happen again. Aye, horse. What did I just do? Your head feels like it's about to burst. The pain is unbearable and overwhelming, but at the same time you feel an extreme sense of clarity, as if you can see more than you could before. I can't believe that lawyer pushed me this far. Once again, you see Pierce's thoughts through the eyes of Horace, but it feels different. It's more potent this time. It's almost as if you can do more than just read his surface thoughts. Ooh, okay, let's see this. Empowered Eye. You've activated the Empowered Eye. With it, you'll be able to do more than see Pierce's thoughts. You'll also be able to affect what he thinks about. Project items into Pierce's mind to evoke thoughts from him. You'll want to project items that make him think about the murder. Evoking the right thoughts will raise your insight. Once the insight gauge is filled, you'll have everything you need to catch him. Okay, let's see. What can we... Maybe the lotus juice? Why am I thinking of such a thing? That piece of evidence didn't evoke any useful thoughts. Maybe you'll see something to prevent... Okay. Maybe the picture? The crime scene photo? Even now, that image is still lingering in my mind. I didn't expect this experience to have such an effect on me. No, at least it doesn't seem to be any issues. Maybe Flynn Hart himself? Flynn Hart, how did it come to this? No, he was the one who decided to spread dissidence. He should have known what would happen. If it wasn't me, it would have been someone else. What? That doesn't give me anything. He's literally like, you should have known better. Okay, I'm just going to present everything. I really have an affinity for water magic, don't I? I should really learn some new spell formulas. Maybe a visit to the academy is in order. Ah, this is a little bit trickier than I thought it would be. Crime scene map? Maybe Celeste? No, not Celeste herself. The sister! The sister! Oh, I thought for sure maybe it was like use the same thing on his sister. The sword? What an ornate sword. I wonder how a commoner like her obtained such a thing. I wonder if the Inquisition would let me have it once the girl's convicted. Damn! I'm going through like everything here. The compendium? She only knows one spell? Of course she would. It's not as if any of the academies would admit someone like her. I guess I'm just gonna go through everything. I thought this was gonna be easier. Perjury, maybe? No. Maybe his spell... Oh, the spells. We're gonna go through his spells of, like, exactly what he did. So let's do the shape liquid again. After all the trouble I went to, I can't believe that lawyer figured out the spell I used. Oh, it's so dumb. I should have gone with the spells. Yeah, because we need to figure out what spell he used. Well, no matter. It's not as if there's any evidence to prove I used it. I'm lucky that old fool had that bottle of water with him. Ah, there we go. Damn it. I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. I was doing pretty well, and then I was just, like, totally botched on this. Thankfully, there was no, like, you know, with Ace Attorney, where it's like you only have basically, like, 5 attempts, because I would have lost. Water from a bottle? Wait, a bottle? Well then, as riveting as this has been, I believe it's time for me to take my leave. Now, wait a minute, Pierce. What is it now, you wretch? I'll say it as many times as you need to hear. There is no evidence of a liquefied weapon at the crime scene. Boom. You're right, Pierce. If you did use shape liquid on a body of water, the murder weapon would have evaporated entirely. Ah, it seems you've finally gotten that fact through your thick head. Bravo. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, Pierce. What if you didn't use shape liquid on water? What if it was another type of liquid? What are you going on about? Pierce, shape liquid doesn't just work on water. It works on all kinds of liquids. This shattered bottle contained the water you cast your spell on, wasn't it? You show him the picture of the shattered bottle of lotus juice. Oh, so he thought it was water. And he didn't see the crime scene because it was so dark, so he didn't realize that the liquid hadn't... You think he would have had access to the crime scene, but anyway, that bottle... Pierce, I found this shattered bottle on the ground near the entrance of the McCoy Inn. I wonder what caused it to shatter. You must have decided to use any liquid you could find. Luckily for you, the victim was holding the perfect quantity of liquid in his hands. I wonder, Lord Pierce, if we had someone analyze the broken pieces of this bottle, would we find traces of transmutation magic? You little... That still proves nothing. So what if you find traces of magic on the shattered bottle? You still don't have a murder weapon. I wasn't finished, Pierce. What? You see, the liquid contained in this bottle wasn't water. It was soda. So? What difference does that make? A blade of ice made of water would have evaporated entirely. But a blade of ice made of soda would leave a puddle of dried residue. No, it can't be. I wondered why there was such a circular trace of magic under the body. If we checked the outline of that trace, I'd bet we find a dried puddle of soda residue. That would prove you used your magic on that soda. There's your murder weapon, Pierce. Ah, we did it. We got it. Now we're done, right? And that is checkmate. Or is it? Bailiff, tell Orm to analyze the crime scene at once. We must determine if this puddle of soda residue exists. The time window to find traces of magic is closing. So, we had our team search the crime scene for the soda puddle. I really can't believe it, but we found it. In fact, the outline of the dried soda lines up exactly with the outline of the trace of transmutation magic. We checked the broken bottle, too. There were traces of transmutation magic on it as well. There's no doubt about it. Someone used magic on that soda. I see. Thank you, Orm. Please escort Lord Pierce back to the stand. Really? We're not gonna have... Come on, let's have that breakdown. What do you have to say for yourself, Pierce? What do you think you've accomplished here today? Do you honestly think you can indict me? I'm an aristocrat from the highest echelons of our society. That fool of a man was an insurgent. He was a threat to society, and I did my civic duty by removing him. Bailiff, escort the witness to a holding cell. Steelwind! First-degree murder is punishable by execution, Lord Pierce. I suggest you remain silent, lest you incriminate yourself further. What? You can't be serious. Shut your insidious mouth. Well, what are you all waiting for? Take him away. Yes, take him away at once. That's it? Oh, come on. I was hoping for like a... oh well. I can't believe it. We actually won. Tyrion, It's all she can do to hold back her tears. It's fine, your face says it all. Thank you. You've more than exceeded my expectations today. Miss Tymora, I'll be honest. When I realized the murder weapon evaporated, I thought the case was shot. I can't believe you were able to turn that around. It was just luck. If you'd used water, we would have been done for. It had nothing to do with luck. You were able to deduce which liquid he used, and you did it just by looking at a few shards of broken glass. Your skills of deduction never cease to amaze me. That's not exactly true. With Celeste there, you can't tell her about your new ability. You're all quite lively. There's no need for such hostility, though I wouldn't expect any less from the Hound of the Eye Takers. Wait, what did she just say? You glance at Miss Tymora, but when she meets your gaze, she immediately looks away. She almost looks like she's focusing, almost as if to protect herself from a certain eye. I must admit, I was hoping to test my blade against you directly, Ruby Tymora. However, your protege proved to be more than a worthy adversary. Thank you. Is this some kind of game to you? You talk about trials as if they're some kind of competition. Your action almost condemned an innocent woman to death. Our system operates by having two powers of opposition. When those powers are balanced, justice prevails. Make no mistake, your victory today was just our system working as intended. She seems much more, reasonable than Francisca. Why can I never say her name? But like she was very much like, this is a competition. I get so mad when I lose, and I'm willing to like frame people and basically like withhold the truth. Way more. She definitely got better, but like when she was first introduced, working as intended. You know very well our system only exists to protect your people. I know. What? In any case, it looks like we'll be facing each other more frequently in the future. I look forward to doing battle with you again, Tyrion Cuthbert. What a strange girl. Well, that kind of killed the mood, didn't it? Not at all. I think we should celebrate. Oh? What do you have in mind? There's this amazing restaurant in the upper quarter of the capital city. They usually only serve nobles, but they let anyone in if they have enough gold. Wait, do we have enough gold? Of course we do. Don't worry about the details. I'll handle everything. Wait, just how much money does Miss Tymora make? I bet you she's secretly a noble, too. And so began my journey into the world of law and magic. Our justice system is rotten to its core, and I'll have many trials ahead. Regardless, I'll keep fighting on and get justice for each and every one of my clients. This feeling, I knew it. My counterpart has finally awakened. I can't believe it. I've been waiting for so long. Is this that creepy girl from his dreams? I can't wait for the day when I can see his eyes draped in agony. Alright, guys, so, wow, that was so much of a longer demo than I was expecting. I have to say, I'm pretty impressed for the most part. There's certain aspects of it that feel like quite professional. Like the music is quite good. The graphics are pretty good. The one tick I have against it is the spelling errors, the grammatical errors were pretty bad at points. It kind of took me out of the experience a little bit. It's a minor quibble, but I really do like it's definitely following that Ace Attorney kind of like formula, but it's introducing new things. It had a bunch of like cool little mini games and like aspects of it that are new and different. So this game's got me intrigued. I don't know if I'm gonna have a spot for it. I don't know. I don't have a spot for my regular Let's Plays, not for a while anyway. So, but this is kind of scratching that Ace Attorney itch, not gonna lie. Like, I quite enjoyed my time with it, and I want to delve more into it. So maybe I will pick it up, because it's not too expensive. It could be either a future live stream game, or it could just be a game I play on my own time. So I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this. If you've heard of this game before, if you've played the demo, if you've played the actual game, what do you think of it? If this is your first time hearing about it and seeing playthrough of it, what do you think of it? Let me know in the comments. Thank you guys for watching this kind of little demo of me playing this game. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know your thoughts on it, and if you'd like to see me play this game in full. That'll do it for me. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Until then, bye. Special shoutouts to my top tier patrons: Emily Hornsby, Lady of Eternity, Revealing Storm, Asborn Kennedy, Jared Fan, Harry Gazif, Icognito, and Zoran Ether.